96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Good morning. Dire warning on climate change. New UN report highlighting growing threats to the Bahamas and other islands. The National Security Minister wants a new block at the prison as concerns Strachan at the facility. And strong public reaction to a viral video showing an allegedly abused elderly person. It's all straight ahead this morning. I'm Dwight Strachan, and this is Morning Blend.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's here. It's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. 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 Wake up, wake up.
Good morning again, Bahamas. It is Tuesday, March 1st, 2022. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Again, I'm Dwight Strachan. In a moment, Don Sargent will be joining us. Also this morning in Morning Blend Business, we've got a business news roundup of a lot of the hot stories in the business world this morning. A lot to get to. But first, it's time for the overnight, the latest breaking news from while you're sleeping. International headlines this morning. In the overnight, if drastic and immediate action is not taken globally to reduce the severity of climate change, small island states like the Bahamas would bear the brunt of a host of social and economic issues that will drive migration to other regions. That's according to a new report by the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change of the United Nations. The report noting that in some communities that are dependent on coral reef systems for livelihoods may exceed adaptation limits long before 2100, even with a low greenhouse gas pathway. The report stating that the impacts of climate change on vulnerable low-lying and coastal areas present serious threats to the ability of land to support human life and livelihoods, and that climate-related migration is expected to increase, although the drivers and outcomes are highly content-specific and insufficient evidence exists to estimate numbers of climate-related migrants now and in the future. The UN Secretary General describing the report as an atlas of human suffering and damning indictment of failed climate leadership. Minister of National Security Wayne Monroe says that he will propose to Cabinet that a new high-medium security unit be built at the Bahamas Department of Correctional Services. The cost of that project will be between $35 to $40 million. Monroe speaking to reporters outside outside the current medium security unit yesterday, saying that this will involve prefab steel prison cells, 3 stories, and will be centrally controlled. Meanwhile, the United States donating nearly $300,000 in equipment to the B docks yesterday, and that the donation was going to help protect the safety of everybody at the facility. Convicted rapist Eric Stubbs, who spent 36 years in custody, released following a resentencing hearing. The 60-year-old spent his detention in solitary confinement at the Sandlands Rehabilitation Center, according to his attorney. His attorney, Sonia Timothy, was visiting the hospital last year when Stubbs, who's been there since 1985, asked her for help. Stubbs, who has a history of mental illness, was convicted of rape and housebreaking in 1984 and sentenced to 7 years imprisonment. The following year, Stubbs, who represented himself, appealed the conviction on the basis that he was not guilty by reason of insanity. The Court of Appeal substituted his guilty verdict with one of guilty, but insane, and ordered him conveyed to the Sandlands Rehabilitation Center to be detained at the pleasure of the Governor General. The Privy Council in December 2021 varied Stubbs' sentence so that his discharge would be determined by the Supreme Court. Appellate Court also ordered the Supreme Court to sentence Stubbs after deciding whether he needed to be detained in hospital and whether his detention was necessary for his health or safety or the protection of the public. The consultant psychiatrist there, Dr. John Dillett, testified that Stubbs was ready for release, but said that Stubbs had to remain on his medication and attend outpatient psychiatric psychotherapy sessions. Stubbs has been released into the care of his family, who will ensure that he takes his medicine and attends his medical appointments. After releasing Stubbs, Senior Justice Bernard Turner advised Vernal Colley, the prosecutor, that his office needed to do a review to see how many other convicts detained at the Governor General's pleasure needed to be resentenced. And the Court of Appeal upholding a conviction of a Marine who pulled a gun on his former. D'Amico Sims has to pay a fine of $5,000 to avoid spending 18 months in prison. He was also sentenced to 18 months of probation and will serve a default sentence of 6 months if he breaches its terms. According to the prosecution's case, Sims showed up at Jonica Hall's home uninvited December 20th, 2020. Hall, who was entertaining her boyfriend, Aaron Gibson, told Sims to leave. According to the prosecution, as Hall went to close the door, Sims barged into the apartment, pulled a gun from his waist, and pointed it at Hall, demanding to know who she had inside. After hearing the commotion, Gibson came out, and Sims pointed the gun at him as well. Though Sims admitted he was at home, he claimed that Hall had invited him there. In testimony, Sims claimed that he distanced himself from Hall because she was known to lie. Overseas Russian shelling pounded the central square in Ukraine's second largest city and other civilian targets today, and a 40-mile convoy of tanks and other vehicles threatened the capital as Ukraine's embattled president accused Moscow of resorting to terror tactics to press Europe's largest ground war in generations. With the Kremlin increasingly isolated by tough economic sanctions that have tanked the ruble currency, Russian troops advanced on Ukraine's 2 biggest cities. In strategic Kharkiv, an eastern city with a population of about 1.5 million, videos posted online showed explosions hitting the region's Soviet-era administrative building and residential areas. A maternity ward relocated to a shelter amid shelling. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky calling the attack on Kharkiv's main square, quote, frank, undisguised terror, and he's blaming a Russian missile and calling it a war crime. Get this is state terrorism of the Russian Federation. As the fighting reached beyond military targets on day 6 of a Russian invasion that has shaken the 21st century world order, reports emerging that Moscow has used cluster bombs on 3 populated areas. If confirmed, that would mean the war has reached a worrying new level. The Kremlin denying this today, that it's used such munitions, and insisting again that its forces only have struck military targets, despite evidence documented by AP reporters of shellings of homes, schools, and hospitals. The Russian defense minister vowed today to press the offensive until it reaches its goals, after a first round of talks between Ukraine and Russia yielded no stop in the fighting. Both sides agreed to another meeting in coming days. In sports, Rugby America's North announcing that its 2022 RAN Sevens qualifiers will take place at the Thomas A. Robinson National Stadium on April 23rd and 24th. The two-day regional event is being hosted by Bahamas Rugby Football Union. It includes senior men and women's divisions and will serve as qualifiers for the 2022 Commonwealth Games in Birmingham, England in July, and the Rugby World Cup Sevens 2022 in Cape Town, South Africa in September. The top two men's teams and one women's team from the event will book their ticket to the Rugby World Cup Sevens. The men's team will be eligible to participate in the Commonwealth Games. When the coronavirus pandemic struck this region at the beginning of 2020, governments in many countries, including the Bahamas, responded with frequent lockdowns, which brought sporting events to a screeching halt. In recent months, though, things have begun to turn around, and now the Boston Marathon held its 2021 marathon in a virtual format, attracting tens of thousands of runners. Bahamians took part as well, the Bahamas Roadmasters team. You can read about that and how they did in today's Guardian Sports section. From Major League Baseball, MLB giving itself and Players Association 6 hours to salvage opening day after a marathon of 13 bargaining sessions over 16 and a half hours produced progress toward a labor deal but left the sides still apart, far apart. MLB line to today at 5 p.m. The sides plan to resume talks at 11 a.m. on the 9th straight day of bargaining. Commissioner Rob Manfred saying Monday was the last possible day to reach an agreement that would allow the minimum time needed for spring training in order to play openers as scheduled on March 31st. The union says it didn't necessarily agree to that timeline, and just as the sides agreed to recess at 2:30 a.m. today. Wow. MLB gave players the new deadline. The Players Association planned to analyze the latest proposals and prepare a response for when talks resume at Roger Dean Stadium, the vacant spring training home of the Miami Marlins and St. Louis Cardinals. The sides agreed, subject to an overall deal, to expand the postseason from 10 to 12 teams rather than the 14 MLB had hoped for. From yet another sport that's extremely popular at home following the country's invasion of Ukraine, Russia banned from competing in international ice skating events today, a day after being kicked out of soccer competitions and hockey. Hockey, Vladimir Putin's favorite sport. The decisions follow the International Olympic Committee's request to keep Russian athletes out of sporting events around the world. The International Skating Union, the body that runs the sport around the world, said no athletes from Russia or Belarus shall be invited or allowed to participate in events until further notice. Belarus has been a key ally of Russia in its attack on Ukraine. The World Figure Skating Championships are scheduled for later this month in France. The ISU's decision means Olympic champion Anna Shcherbakova and a 15-year-old teammate Kamila Vilieva, who was the focus of the still unresolved doping dispute at last month's Winter Olympics. That's sports, and that's the overnight. Time for your first look at weather. In your weather for today, an intensifying low-pressure system northeast of the Bahamas will slowly drag a weak cold front and its associated frontal activity across the area as the low begins to generate sea swells that will impact the northern waters through tonight. Boaters should be alert due to the threat of possible waterspout activity near the extreme northwest Bahamas this morning, and beachgoers in the extreme northwestern islands should also exercise caution due to the elevated risk of rip currents. impacting northern and eastern Atlantic shoreline. For today, for the northwest and central Bahamas, variably cloudy and a bit warm, with widely scattered showers, mainly along the frontal boundary, and the chance of lingering thunderstorms over Atlantic waters northeast of the area today. Tonight should be mild. There is a likelihood of patchy fog in some areas as well, but that should be clearing as the sun continues to rise at this hour. A small craft caution is in effect for the extreme northwest Bahamas due to swells. Expect gusty winds and higher seas in or near heavy showers and thunderstorms. Wind south to southwest at 10 knots or less ahead of the front, varying northwest to north at 10 to 15 knots, falling light and variable at times behind the front. Seas 1 to 3 feet ahead of the front, but building 2 to 4 feet after the frontal passage, but up to 6 feet in northeast to easterly swells in the extreme northwest Bahamas. For the southeastern islands today, look for mostly sunny and warm conditions with a chance of a few light showers, becoming mostly fair and mild tonight. Winds east southeast to south-southeast at 10 knots or less, occasionally falling light and variable at times, shifting north to northeast at 10 knots or less by tonight. Seas 1 to 3 feet. Temperatures today getting up to around 81 Fahrenheit, 27 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 64 Fahrenheit, 18 Celsius. That's your first look at weather this morning. We'll have an extended outlook coming up after traffic in just a bit.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
You're listening to Morning Blend. When we come back, we're discussing the day's top stories right here on your home for fresh news and smart talk all day. Guardian Radio 96.9.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
If you're looking to diversify your portfolio, chart a course for RF Mutual Funds, where you can get global returns through our suite of internationally invested funds. Get exposure in U.S., Asian, European, and emerging markets without central bank approval. And with financial services leader Morgan Stanley as the advisor of our international funds, you can benefit from RF's global connections. Set sail for international markets today by visiting rfgroup.com. RF, money at work.
Drive happy with free fuel for CIBC First Caribbean and Esso. Use your CIBC First Caribbean Visa debit or credit card to fuel up with $25 or over at any participating Esso service station, and you are automatically entered for a chance to win the grand prize and weekly prizes of $200 in fuel or cash. Offer runs until March 20th, 2022. Terms and conditions apply. Visit CIBCFCIB.com for more details. The Esso brand is a trademark of the ExxonMobil Corporation and is used under license.
Technology serves to make our lives better, so why not your business too? At Custom Computers, we've been maintaining our knowledge and relationships with top tech companies since 1987 and carry only the most trusted brands like Apple, Microsoft, HP, and more. No company has helped more businesses build reliable IT systems than Custom Computers. You name it, we've done it. Call 396-1101 to talk to any of our business experts. Find trust in your tech. Count on Custom Computers.
Tired of banks forcing you to use technology to bank the way they want you to? Your convenience is important. So no matter what your banking needs, Commonwealth Bank's friendly staff are always available in branch for that personal one-on-one service. But when you choose technology, our online and mobile banking app offers you state-of-the-art functionality. The choice is yours. Commonwealth Bank. Bank the way you want.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. It's a new day.
Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We're streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at morningblend969 or facebook.com/morningblend969. Text us on the Guardian Radio text line powered by BTC 422-4796. Standard text rate supply. We'll give you the phone numbers to call in just a bit. By the way, I'm Dwight Strachan. Don Sargent is going to be joining us in just a moment. And coming up this morning, more weather and traffic. And throughout the morning, we're going to be talking about what's in the news. And later in Morning Blend Business, we're doing a business news roundup. Quite a bit happening in the business world as well to talk about this morning. Let's begin, though, with what's in the news. And in the news, big headline in the NASA Guardian, dire warning on climate change. A new UN report highlighting growing threats to the Bahamas and other islands. This is not the first time we've heard this. We know that we've been very vulnerable for decades, years. It's been clear that this is getting worse. And the warnings have been going on for a very long time. But, so the latest report saying that, quote, the impacts of climate change on vulnerable low-lying and coastal areas present serious threats to the ability of land to support human life and livelihoods. Climate-related migration is expected to increase, although the drivers and outcomes are specific and insufficient evidence exists to estimate numbers of climate-related migrants now and in the future. Many, including the UN Secretary General, describing it as a damning indictment of failed climate leadership, and that people everywhere are angry and anxious about it. Everywhere? I don't know. Don, we've talked about it before. I mean, I think some people here are very anxious and angry and recognize that we likely won't be around when things get really, really awful. But we're seeing things are getting worse with the severity of hurricanes, the flooding during minor rainfall events here and other islands. And so we see what's happening. But I don't know if enough people are angry here. I don't know if it's where it should be, because some behaviors would change here. And I don't think the behaviors are changing from what I see. But I live in a very special world. What do you say, folks? What do you think? Are we practicing what we preach here, or are we just expecting other people to preach and we want to go amen or scold them when they don't say the right thing? What do you say about it? 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. Tell us what you think about that. Have enough people really made the changes that are required, the adjustments that are required in terms of everything from what they drive to whether they drive. I mean, that's an extreme one, but you can change what you drive, how you drive, just how frequently, everything. I don't think we have it. The appliances you use, the electronics you use, whether they are efficient, as simple as a bulb, making those LED changes. I know they're not as, people are going to bring up money, of course, but it saves in the long run, money-wise and the environment. But are we practicing what we're preaching? That's the question.
No, Dwight, that's the answer right there.
Yeah.
No, do you think it'll make a big dent? You're talking about climate change, I presume. You're sticking on that point. Mm-hmm. I think, unfortunately, the absolute dumpster fire of the situation now in Europe has further pulled attention away from the issues of climate change. I saw that UN report talking about a lot of the effects of this now are irreversible, but there's still a few things that we could do to mitigate the long-term lasting effects of that. And the sanctions against Russia at the moment, the absolute emergency release of oil and supposedly emergency production of oil and natural gas from the United States and Saudi Arabia and other partners to make up for the shortfall from Russia, we're going to see more of an acceleration of the same things we were trying to avoid in the first place due to the outbreak of war. So I fear, Dwight, that it's game over, basically, for that. I'm not trying to sound an alarm here and sound all negative or anything, but I'm just being honest. Like it's that ship has sailed. So I think the best thing small states like us could do that are affected by this. Sure, we could do things to, try to practice what we preach, but I think we also need to look at what are we going to do about the situation of rising sea levels, strong hurricanes. Do we need to secure land, essentially someplace in Africa, or refugee status?
What now?
I'm just saying, Dwight, just being realistic.
Secure land. Okay.
I am telling you, based on what I'm seeing right now in Europe, that there is absolutely a reversal of policy on climate change simply because of the emergency situation. So in the short term, I don't know how long it's going to last, but in the short term, there will be no relief.
Oh, boy. All right, let's see what you're saying about it, folks. Let's go to the phone lines. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Morning, Dwight. Morning,
Hi,
Don. Morning, Bahamas.
Good morning.
Boy, this is really and truly a perplexing and complex situation we're now facing. But to answer your question, Dwight, at face value, are we in the Bahamas practicing what we preach? No. We seem to want to, at least from the governmental point of view, want to, but governments, in my humble opinion, in the Bahamas have not done as much or as far, gone as far with what we have already done.
I'm not even talking just about the government.
I know, but I'm coming quickly to that next point. First of all, if we're going to go internationally and preach climate change, i.e. the government talking about all of the things that the world should do and that we, along with the world, can do, then we should be, through the government machinery, affecting changes. Solar energy rooftops all over the place. Solar energy all over the place in this country right now should have been the buzzword. Okay, now that's at a governmental level, because the government affects it at that level, wherein it takes all of the red tape off of the Bahamian people in terms of allowing us to really get things in duty free, or lowering the cost so low that you may as well have them, without cost, so to speak. I'm being a little extreme here. But in terms of the individual level, Dwight, I think one of the reasons why you might not find a lot of Bahamians taking it seriously, because the sea level rise, for example, is so slow, comparatively speaking, or relatively speaking. And then hurricanes are so infrequent, relatively speaking, even though we had Dorian the other day that really was a wake-up call, that a lot of us tend to get lulled right back into the same old, things are going to be fine kind of attitude, until one day things sneak up on us that we don't know. You remember the theory of the frog in the hot water, but if the water slowly boils, the frog don't know until he's boiled to death, but if you put him in a bucket or a cup or container of hot water, immediately he'll jump right out.
Wow. Yeah.
We as Bahamians, I don't even think a lot of us really yet understand or appreciate the gravity. I can say that I do, but financially, I don't have the means to affect the changes that I need to. Some of us really, unfortunately, cannot afford to. But those of us who can, I understand many businesses are even now going solar. But is it enough? And on an individual or governmental basis, or are we Bahamians really and truly aware enough as to the severity of this climate change and the negative impacts. And I'll ask you this question as I close. Can you, gentlemen, other than the hurricanes, can you give us, and the flooding, I would say, can you give us any examples as to how any of our islands are already beginning to disappear underwater? Because I think until we Bahamians can hear that or see that, a lot of us won't really understand and appreciate how serious the situation is. I'll hang up and listen.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. I mean, that's a good question. I don't know personally, but I wouldn't be surprised. Two things have happened, right? Either places of some low-lying keys have either disappeared, or you're seeing more of places that you didn't see a few years ago. So we're seeing a bit of that. But the specifics, I don't know. But we know that's happening elsewhere around the world. But you make some very interesting points. I agree. Yeah, we are seeing more and more individuals and businesses putting up solar panels, and yeah, that's happening. But the cost, or at least the perception that the cost is prohibitive, is being more widespread, I suspect. But yeah, all right, 323-6232, 325-4316. 325-4259. Continue to tweet us, Facebook us, and text us. Let's get to some of your text messages. Somebody says here, what's going on with BPL and the increase in our light bill? Now, this is a very interesting story. So yesterday, there was a press statement about an increase, and a couple hours later, BPL recalled the statement. He said, yeah, please. No, that's not happening. Very bizarre. And the state from BPL said the statement issued earlier has been recalled. Please disregard. But that by quite a few online publications and but what does that mean? Is that a sign of things to come? It's very, very curious. And how did that happen? How do you do that? How do you?
The part that was confusing about that to me, Dwight, I was under the impression that we were hedging, right, straight up until I think it was June of this year. And when I saw that come a bit earlier, it was just like, has the hedging facility that the government, set up and everything, has that fallen through earlier than expected? I know the minister responsible has also had a press statement from November of last year talking about the intentions to obviously renegotiate beyond that set date when the hedging facility is supposed to end and extend the hedging. Now, I don't know what the rate's going to be then. Maybe this was a premature announcement, or maybe something has happened behind the scenes, and the situation is so fluid that they withdrew their statement at the time that they did. But it is extraordinarily confusing. We do know that oil prices have shot up, like I said, as a result of the conflict. And the supply has been absolutely choked due to one of the largest oil producers essentially being shut out of massive parts of the market. So it raises a lot of questions. And well, not even just that, like the answers they supposedly provided and also withdrew is making far more questions being asked, Dwight, that just don't make any sense. Is this just a communication slip up, or was there intervention by cabinet? I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, they just can't expect us to all say, okay, no problem. We do need some answers, real serious answers. Is this something that's going to come later in the year? How did that happen? Very bizarre. Very bizarre. But they did give some tips. I mean, am I not supposed to reference this old press release at all? What are they going to do? What are they going to do? Anyway, but they say that, they in the previous one that was recalled, but they're advising people to lessen the effect through employing energy-saving measures, right? Turning off unnecessary lights and switching from incandescent to LED bulbs. Minimizing hot water use by fixing hot water leaks and taking shorter showers. Oh, okay. Unplugging unused electronics to lessen the cost of standby power. Turning air conditioning down or off while away for longer periods of time. Replacing old energy inefficient electronics and appliances with those that are Energy Star rated. Promoting cool airflow with the use of fans and blocking the afternoon sun with window coverings. and laundering in cold water and hanging clothes and linens to dry. If you excellent suggestions there. We should do that all the time, whether the rates are low or high. Okay. But hopefully there'll be some answers. You just can't issue a one-line, well, we call that press statement on something that significant and expect people to just carry on smartly, But I'm sure they will hope that we do. They will hope that we do. Let's take this call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Hi, good morning.
Hi, morning.
Hey, Dwight and Dawn. This is Debbie Deal.
Hi, Debbie. Good morning.
Good
Hey,
morning.
Debbie.
I've been listening in, and climate change is already here. Whether people want to recognize it, whether we have to have an island go underwater for people to see it, we already have it. The hurricane that Dorian was not just a hurricane. It was the worst in over the last 100 years since they've been recorded. We've never ever seen a hurricane in this country where the entire one part of the island is 24 feet underwater. It's never happened before. And as for the cost of things, I've been talking about this for so many years. The National Energy Policy, going back to 2014, well, it's actually 2013 to 2033, but it was enacted in 2014. The very first item in it, there's 4 piers. The very first one is to reduce the energy consumption that we use on a regular basis. And if you go to the YouTube video, I will keep repeating this until I'm blue in the face. BCCEC Green Initiative. It will give you many ideas as to how to reduce costs without having to spend any money. And as for LED light bulbs being expensive, you can get $10 locally.
Yeah, the prices definitely come down quite a lot. That can't be much of an excuse anymore.
Will it cause an effect? Yes, an incandescent bulb will cost you $14.80-something a year to operate. An LED light bulb will cost you 92 cents a year to operate, and an LED bulb will last for 22 years, unless you buy an inferior one, but it'll last 22 years. And again, I'm going to go back to New Providence Community Church. We did a Adopt a Light Bulb program, and in a year's time, everybody chipped in, bought one, they put them all in, reduced their energy bill from $7,000 to $2,000 a month, which is a $60,000 a year savings. If you look at the larger, we were at Breeze's on Friday at the Good Governance Symposium.
Mm-hmm.
That room was so cold that when they broke in, stayed in the cold room because it was too cold. Everybody went to the other one because it was too cold to be in. Why is a hotel wasting so much money on energy to keep it that cold? And why do they still have CFLs, compact fluorescent bulbs? We're eliminating mercury in products that are man-made in this country, thanks to the Minamata Convention that we signed on to. We really need to take this serious. The intensity of hurricanes, the intensity of the wind, and the amount of rain that you get with hurricanes will not get any less. It's going to get more, and it's going to be more frequent. So anything that we can possibly do to lower our carbon emissions, which is basically what we're asking the rest of the world to do, if we're not prepared to do that, why should anybody else listen to us?
Exactly.
Why should our Prime Minister go to Glasgow and say, you guys are creating this mess, you got to give us, us a small island developing states, money to help us, do more seawalls and move our major roads, which are on the coast inland, and be able to build higher and do all of these things if we're going to be along for the ride with you guys. But if we're not willing to do one thing, like change, if somebody says they can't afford a light bulb, you mean when you go to the grocery store to buy groceries, you can't spend $2 on a light bulb? Well, if you can't spend $2 on a light bulb, I want to watch your lifestyle. I want to see if you go to the liquor store and what you buy. I want to see, are you getting your nails done? Are you going to the hairdresser? Maybe we should just do some of these other things that we're spending money on and do things to actually contribute to our effort to climate change. Since we are one of the top 10 countries in this world, disappear if we are not careful. And what Don was talking about is when the FNN government was in power back in like 2009 or something like that, the country was actually looking for a place for us to be land immigrants. They had found a place in the United States that would take 380,000 people. So we are going to have to start doing that. If we are not prepared to help ourselves, we're going to have to go somewhere else out. Like we watch TV with all of these people that are having to go from one place to the next because they get pushed out of their country. We will be that country.
Wow.
It's serious. It is
scary.
really serious. If you listen to Adele Thomas talk, she will tell you exactly. She has all the calculations and figures. It's not in our minds. It's not made up. We need to be serious about it. And you know what? Buying a light bulb, planting a tree, these are things that we can actually do to actually help reduce it. I got to go get my coffee now.
Yeah, okay, Debbie, thanks a lot. We'll have you on again to give us some great tips like you did the last time you were on how we can save some energy. But thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thanks for letting me talk.
All right. Yeah, frightening. And that's why the show yesterday with the Department of Forestry and, the Forestry Unit, and just how, that bulldozer that was mowing down those trees in the, off Carmichael, just unbelievable. And if you were listening yesterday, that story, oh boy, that story about, officials trying to stop. You heard that? The place where they were burning the trees for coal, and they tried to put a stop to what was going on there, and they got a call from on high to stop and leave the people alone.
Okay, repeat that again. A call from on high to stop intervening.
Yep. This was an incident that happened before, not the one last week, but they were just giving examples of how when they do try to stop people from doing these things, they're blocked.
I've run into that too. There was an incident it's not even an incident. It was an ongoing practice at the time where a business, I don't know the name of the business, so I can't say, but it was a business off Gladstone Road that made it a habit of burning tires like every other day.
What?
And it'd be billows of smoke. Yeah, right off of Gladstone Road. And one day I just was so curious. I was like, why is there always a fire in this area? So I drove down and saw that guys who were working in this property for this business were tossing tires, like tractor tires, and rolling them into this big pile and setting them ablaze.
Oh boy. Wow.
So there were other people who drove behind me. Some people called the police on the situation because it literally, like, the fire was so bad, like, it was kind of covered, like it would blow over to the airport, and you could, like, it was this humongous fire that was causing this because tires produce a lot of smoke, black smoke. I had found out 2 days later they were burning them again, so I guess nothing came out of that situation. So I'm not surprised of what I'm hearing, essentially for the situation for coal. I think the only way that these things can be addressed is if they get social media, because one thing I know about our country is that, like you say, when those phone calls come from down on high, nothing happens.
And so this is why it goes back to what we're saying, right? We're just talking to get some photos and get some, look, the prime minister of this little country, the Bahamas, is making an appeal. And that will get attention internationally. But if we're doing foolishness and telling people to stop, when people try to stop someone from doing foolishness, we're a bunch of clowns. We're not serious about this at all. And so I don't know. But people clearly enjoy this. Clearly, this is what they want. Let's hear what you have to say, caller. Good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Dwight.
Hi.
And good morning, Don. Listen, the last caller is right on target. Like I said, I can say unequivocally that when the Prime Minister, by the way, last year at Glasgow, to that summit, World Summit, with respect to climate change, did a splendid job with respect to making the case for the Bahamas and any other small developing country within the Caribbean and elsewhere in the world. The problem here is that we've got to get serious about doing what we need to do to help change the trajectory, because what I've seen just in the last couple of days with respect to the world situation is dire straight. And this thing about oil, etc., is only going to be a disaster, notwithstanding that the war that is being fought in Ukraine. So what we need to do, instead of talking about some form of green gas by 2030, some 30%, we could do that. Within the 5-year period, we could reduce that to make it 50% within the next 5 years. Notwithstanding, by 2030, we could be almost completely removed from oil, which would help our country tremendously. We need to show the world that we are now leading by example. We are doing what we can do as a small country to ensure that we are in a better position and to protect us. Because from what I see coming from a global perspective, this could only be devastating. So I trust and pray that the government and the opposition and the women would come together and understand the importance of getting things done. Because that's sure you are yesterday. You can have legislation, but if you don't have no enforcement, it makes no sense at all. And so
absolutely.
we got to get it going, Vaughn. Sean, you got to get it going.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I like where you're going. I mean, 2030 is very close, but yeah. We gotta aim big, aim high. But yeah, wow. All right. A couple messages before we take a break. Back to BPL. Someone says that where'd it go? Did BPL talk about the electricity reduction measure of cutting BPL executive pay and benefits in half? Electricity? Okay, sure. They didn't, but okay. This one says here, if you look at the Montague foreshore during high tide, you can see the impact of climate change and sea level rise already. The water now comes up to the edge of the sidewalk at the eastern end. Our leaders and academics do not really believe in climate change. Suppose you could prove that today you will be in an accident that will cause your car to flip. Would you drive more cautiously and scold other drivers for driving recklessly, or would you get a helmet and put on your seatbelt? We need to start researching oceanic engineering.
I don't think we're aiming to do any of those things. I think you'd have a lot of payments if they knew that was going to happen. They'd speed even more. So, I don't know. We're not bringing drivers.
It was not my day, and and carry on smartly. But I mean, I think it's a bit of a stretch there. But I do I don't. And and I said it earlier. We're not practicing what we preach. We go abroad and we say these things, and we come back here and we do the same old thing. Big old V8, V10, V12 engine vehicles, and the lights on all day, air conditioning burning 24/7, 365. Right?
Never. Something I would recommend, Dwight. What I think we should do: take public transportation seriously, which I know is a pretty pointless conversation in the Bahamas, because it was one thing that the Bahamas is just inept and incapable of doing, is having a properly organized public transportation system. And every attempt we've done at having a pilot program has failed abysmally from every administration, from every party. So I'm just saying, a proper public transportation system would
I don't
also
actually think those programs, those pilots were even...
It's not going to happen. It's kind of like...
well thought out or designed to work, ever. But because we're not serious.
No, we're not. It's we jokey. But if we were serious, that would be. I want to say something radical here. I think we should just make electric cars 100% tax free to bring into the country. Yeah. If we're trying to encourage this so much, right? We'll see. I know it's 10% at the moment. I believe it's 10%, but then you add the value added tax, extra 10%, and a couple other expenses. Comes out somewhere around 23-24%. It says they cost more up front. That's a whole other debate for another day. But if we're serious about it, wipe it tax-free. If you want to bring in lithium-ion batteries specifically for your home, tax-free. Want to bring in solar panels, tax-free. But we're not going to do that necessarily. I know some things have been reduced massively in duty. Some things have been made free, which is some value-added tax to pay on these things. And they tend to be very expensive, and they cost prohibitive to a lot of Bahamians. But otherwise, I don't really see anything else, because the government ain't going to subsidize anything. They ain't got resources to do so. So I don't know.
Yep. or at least, in the very least, raise the cap, which is $50,000 cap to get that 10%. And of course, that buys you half a car now in 2022. So that's not helping many people at all. That needs to be revised and
or public transportation. I see that we lifted a moratorium on the taxi plates and stuff. I don't know if the same thing has been done for buses, but that's still not going to fix the absolutely abysmal state of the public transportation with buses on the island of the Providence that's been an abject failure since its inception. But it's something every administration talks big on. Everyone's put their big lip on it and say they can do this and do that and then do absolutely nothing. But it is a solution to part of our problem. If less citizens need to buy a car in the first place, it also takes a lot of the money that people would have otherwise spent on gas, otherwise spent on insurance for a car, licensing a car, and all the things that we have to do with that, as well as just paying into a public transportation system. So that's in a consistent stream of revenue for government.
I agree.
That requires
but you just heard what you said. You've just outlined the collapse of the financial sector in the country. All those people not buying insurance and not having to have their cars fixed and licensed.
Make insurance. We don't even sell our own insurance. We sell insurance on behalf of other people. We've made an entire industry out of taking something else that another country makes and says, hey, let's resell this to Bahamians and call it a new product.
And tons of people work in the sector. And these are some of the reasons why we don't have an effective public transportation
but
system.
at the same time, Dwight, you have to also recognize that this current system we have is so grossly ineffective, and there's so much waste and there's so much expenses pushed onto the pockets of average everyday Bahamians, especially in a situation of economic adversity that we're going through now with hikes in prices and stuff. Mm-hmm. We're seeing the absolute reality and long-term effects of the very poor decisions we've made over the course of our development since independence.
Yeah.
And the question is, what are we going to do to address these things? If we're so serious about taking on climate change and all these things, Dwight, this has to be a part of the conversation.
What they're going to tell you is, okay, well, you just need to get a government job or get on a board, and then you'll have more money to buy a better car. And bam. End of story. But you are entirely correct. Absolutely. And this text here, every government on the planet, including the Bahamas, can stop designing car-centric cities. Hey, that sounds good. Although I don't think we design cities here.
Nassau is a big hodgepodge city. One part of it looks historically European. The next part looks like literally is the results of people living right in close proximity, like Baintown, etc. I actually like the layout of Baintown. And then the rest of it just copies American urban sprawl where you need a car to get everywhere. Mixed up and confused and poorly planned city. And I wouldn't even get into the conversation of zoning, how we absolutely failed with town planning in New Providence. I'm seeing the similar things in the Family Islands. And administrations always seem to be absolutely silent on this. Nassau is a horrible city to traverse. Even if you just drive a car everywhere you got to go and you don't catch bus or anything, you cannot not notice how poorly designed it is. Why do you have a liquor store in the southern part of Blue Hill, right across the road from a liquor store, right? Not even a whole block away from a major intersection with cutting through people's yard to go just to duck through traffic. And then right after there's another intersection. So you have massive amounts of traffic.
I'm sure there's a school somewhere near there.
There is. And another liquor store and a church.
Probably in the school.
4 churches, sorry. And again, this goes back to this whole thing of poor zoning. Like, how does someone live in a residential area and have a convenience store in their front yard? Like, what are we even doing in this country? We talk all this talk about government doing this, government doing that, government puts in all these regulations. And I saw that whole thing we have the Privy Council in reference to subdivision approval. And all I can do is just laugh at it. Like, what are we talking about with zoning and subdivision approval and all these things? They look good on paper, but if you just drive all around Nassau and see how hodgepodge the entire place is. This is the result of poor planning. Yeah. Now, what are we going to do about that situation? Because again, this goes back to this whole thing about climate change. If I don't need a car, if you design the city, zone things properly, stop putting bus stops on roads where buses don't even drive on in the first place, things would make more sense. But as it stands right now, Bahamians know. If you live in Nassau, you know things don't make sense, which is why we have a car in the first place.
Local government would go a long way in helping with this, folks. That's all I have to say about that. But let's take this call quickly before we take a break.
quickly, good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Yeah, these electric cars coming out now. I mean, I just did 7 kilowatts and I'm fully charged. My battery lasts for half a year. But the downside is the mechanics are going to not have any work to do because if I get a Tesla, then there's nobody on the island who can fix it. So I'm knocking people out of jobs. Anyway. But governments, when we really look at it all around the world, all governments seem to be doing is managing debt. And we pay them, and they get paid very well to just shuffle money all over the place. But this particular government in the Bahamas is faced with a serious crisis because in the Bahamas, we have 3 nations living in this country. And one is given the right to compete by selling food and liquor in the same building on weekends, on holidays, and the average other store has to close, so that's an advantage. The other one can burn all the tires and trees that they want and destroy our ecosystem and then deforest us the way they did wherever they come from. And then government has to cater to all 3. So rise above all of this dilemma and governance and tap into the $7 trillion that's passing over our heads every day. And then I think we could get above this situation, but we just have to make a decisive effort individually to go for the real money and stop dabbling with these political buffoons. Thanks for taking my call.
Wow. Okay.
Dwight, I think I figured out thanks to that caller. You know what we need to do, Dwight? I think a lot of Bahamians need to come together and create our own Albany. I think that's the only thing things can change. And carve out our own part of the country or the island of New Providence with subdivision approval, of course. And try to make it so that we get tax-free status and we operate everything we got to operate within that space. Because if we do anything outside of that space with government, it ain't gonna work out.
And tell the government to don't watch what we do here.
Boom, and then offer to buy BPM.
Don't see nothing. Okay.
That's what we need. We need our own Albany.
Sounds like a plan. We have a lot more to talk about on this Tuesday morning. Stay with us. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9.
Oh, mercy, mercy me. All things ain't what they used to be now. Where did all the blue skies go? Poison is the wind that blows from the north and south and east. Oh, mercy, mercy me. All things ain't what they used to be now.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Time for first look at traffic for this morning, brought to you by RBC Royal Bank. Here's what's happening. We've got a number of hotspots this morning to tell you about. Mile Butler Highway, as usual. One of those, heavy traffic from well south of the Fire Trail roundabout, all the way up to the roundabout with Tawny Williams Darling Highway. So that's south of the roundabout, up in the northbound lanes, but also backed up on Fire Trail, backed up quite a ways this morning, almost to Gladstone Road in the eastbound lane, heading to the roundabout with Mile Butler Highway. Gladstone Road is busy just north of Fire Trail all the way up to JFK Drive. And we're seeing some building traffic at Tawny Williams Darling Highway at the roundabout with Mile Butler Highway. Elsewhere, Carmichael Road, a number of hotspots there. Westbound, building traffic to Coral Harbor Road, and then eastbound, building traffic to busy this morning, especially near the junction with St. Vincent Road and near Soldier Road and north of Soldier Road, heading to Independence Drive and the roundabout there. Independence Drive backed up a bit, quite a ways, westbound to the roundabout with Blue Hill Road this morning at this hour. And East Street from the roundabout with East-West Highway and Independence Drive all the way down to Sapodil Boulevard. You'll be seeing the heavy traffic in the northbound lanes, especially at the intersection with Soldier Road. Soldier Road backed up eastbound to that intersection as well. Then we've got Eastern New Providence. We've got Eastern Road already seeing the heavy traffic from about Fox Hill up to Johnson Road westbound. Prince Charles Drive, pockets westbound near Elizabeth Estates and near the major intersections, and especially Robinson Road between Soldier and Old Trail Road, especially near the schools in the area, and at the intersection with Wolf Village, Bernard, and Soldier. Those are your hotspots for now. We'll have another real-time report for you just after the 8 o'clock news. That's your Morning Blend Traffic Alert, brought to you by RBC Royal Bank, banking reimagined. And time for another check of your weather for today. Here's what's happening. We've got an intensifying low pressure system just northeast of the islands that will slowly drag a weak cold front and its associated frontal trough across the area as the low begins to generate sea swells that will impact the northern waters through tonight. For the northwest and central Bahamas today, variably cloudy and a bit warm with widely scattered showers, mainly near the frontal boundary, and the chance of lingering thunderstorms over Atlantic water area today. Tonight should be mild, though, and there is, that's likely burned off by now, the patchy fog in some parts of the northwest and central islands. Small craft cautions in effect for boaters in the extreme northwest Bahamas due to swells. Expect gusty winds and higher seas in or near heavy showers and thunderstorms. For the southeast Bahamas, mostly sunny and warm today with a chance of a few light showers, becoming mostly fair and mild tonight. Temperatures getting up to around 81 Fahrenheit, 27 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down about 64 Fahrenheit, 18 Celsius. In your extended outlook, that low will continue its northward trek away from the area, allowing for high pressure to gradually build as the front slides eastwards. Meanwhile, light to moderate sea swells will once again be quite common across Atlantic exposures through Thursday. So for tomorrow, Wednesday, variably cloudy and a bit warm with isolated showers. Thursday, partly sunny and warm with a chance of isolated showers in the northwest and central, turning partly cloudy with widely scattered showers in the southeastern islands. That's your Morning Blend weather check. We'll be back with more Morning Blend after these messages here on Guardian Radio 96.9.
Speed doesn't come easy. It takes your investment in your goals, your time, your full effort, full dedication. And when you think you've done enough, do it again. It takes precision, not just doing it, but doing it as best as possible. Day in, day out. And just like BTC, I will stop at nothing to make the people of the Bahamas stand up and cheer. That's what fuels me and why I'm a proud ambassador of BTC. Because we share a common desire to elevate your internet experience so you elevate everything you do with it and make it the best it can be. Switch to BTC Superfast Internet and elevate what's next.
For sale. It's our third look at this place. Let's buy.
Here we come. Home ownership is a big deal, so move to Caribbean. With your new mortgage, you'll get half off the appraisal cost, commitment fee, and more. Enjoy up to 95% financing and a homeowner benefits card, redeemable at selected hardware, furniture, and appliance stores.
Nice sound. We moved in.
Merrily.
Terms and conditions apply. Visit CIBCFCIB.com/move merrily for details.
Wake up. It's a new day.
Over 5 years we've been here. Time to review our options.
CIBC First Caribbean.
Home ownership is a big deal, so move on merrily with CIBC First Caribbean. Switch your mortgage, and you'll get half off the appraisal cost, commitment fee, and more. Enjoy up to US $10,000 toward your switching cost.
A peaceful rest. Glad we moved to CIBC First Caribbean.
Merrily.
Terms and conditions apply. Visit CIBCFCIB.com/move merrily for details.
To have a better morning. How? Start your mornings the best way with our 2 for $6 breakfast sandwiches at Wendy's. For a limited time, choose any 2 of your favorite breakfast sandwiches, including the fresh Strachan sack muffin, honey buttermilk chicken biscuit, double sausage muffin, or the sausage egg and cheese biscuit. Wash it all down with our cold brew shake or coffee. Better mornings always start at Wendy's. Wendy's, different inside and out. Excludes airport locations.
We believe in relationship banking. We take pride in getting to know our clients. You have access to knowledgeable, approachable ambassadors and financial coaches so that we can recommend the best product for you. At Fidelity, we care about you, from your financial health to your physical health, because we're just like you. Come and start your relationship banking experience with us today. Visit us online at fidelitygroup.com. Visit any of our branches in Nassau or Grand Bahama, or phone 356-7764 in Nassau, or 352-6676 for Freeport.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Save yourself from ending up in now. Look
We are back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Don Sargent on this Tuesday morning. We've been talking about climate change and also BPL this morning. But there are a lot of other things we want to get to, but let me just get through the last of your messages, quite a few messages on this topic here. Someone says here on our text line, to the majority of Bahamians, this is just another topic of the day or the week. There's no proof that we are making any changes towards global warming. Seriously. This one says here, speaking of zoning, can we talk about the mountain of old cars that are in the yard on Soldier Allowed? Yeah, it's just unbelievable. Just unbelievable.
Yep.
And that's not the only spot, but yeah, it's crazy. Another one here. I'm not surprised the activists were told to stop. They're not activists. That's the thing. They actually were. This is a government department. This is, right? The actual civil servants doing their job and not activists, right? That's the terrifying thing. But anyway, I'm not surprised they were told to stop. We in this country are paying lip service to everything that does not line our personal pockets. Call me when we're serious. Well, I guess we won't be calling you anytime soon.
Yep, because you got a great show in Albany. That's how you see. It's how you make it. And I enjoy it in Albany. I just saying, it's how you get things done.
Back to BPL, someone says here that they think the folks there wanted to be transparent and to increase the rate, but the powers that be pulled the notice back because they want to increase our rate without explanation. No. I don't think that last part. But that's just not the right time. Not the right time. That was supposed to come into effect today. Not the right time at all with everything happening, the inflation, the cost of living, gas. That would have been suicidal. For that to be announced, that you would never have heard the end of that one if that happened today. But be prepared. That's what it looks like, right? As soon as things start to settle down, that may be coming our way. It may be safe to assume. This text here, lots of reaction to our caller earlier about stop buying all the hair and the nails. People not liking that so much. Spend our money. Okay, well, was that what that was? Or was it like really question whether you need that right now? When, right, there are other choices you could be making. I mean, it's not a terrible thing. What's the issue? Is there an issue? I see people mentioning color here. Is that why? So if I said it or somebody else said it, that would be fine? Yeah? Well, that's pretty good.
What are they saying? They're saying people spend too much money on their hair and not enough money on bulbs or something?
Well, that's what... No, they didn't like being told not to spend their money on hair and nails and liquor and stuff. Be careful how you tell us how to spend our money. But the color, her color keeps being mentioned, and I'm wondering if it were someone of a different complexion, if
color of her skin or color of her hair.
Okay, I guess.
Oh, okay.
But yeah. So behaviors. I'm. Hey, man, come on, really? Anyway, this one here. There are a handful of people in the Bahamas that have no light, no internet, and more pressing problems at an individual level that takes focus away from big picture items like climate change. We just have to accept that people will care and some won't. Keep educating, but accept the fact that 100% of the world won't get behind an effort, cause, or drive. No, we are not talking about those people. We're talking about the people who actually can do something, who are not paying any attention to this. That's what we're talking about. Another one here. Your co-host is making no sense. He's asking the government to reduce duties on electric cars and encourage the sales of those vehicles to the average car on the road. I don't know where you got that from, but okay. Should the government take his advice, the only people benefiting from this will be the rich people who can afford the electric car with the same duty in place. This is what you guys do every morning, make suggestions which make no sense. Well, that's your opinion there. And right now, I don't think you're you know what you're talking about exactly. You should do some.
Yeah, I don't think the average cost is $3,000 alone, because just the shipping cost nowadays is around $2,400 to $2,700, depending on where the car is coming from, excluding the cost of the car. And the general cost of used cars in the world has actually gone up, and that's been reflected on places like Ford, etc.
This texter is just really not looking at the bigger picture. Yeah,
no, they're not.
A good number of people will import used vehicles,
and that's fine.
Plenty of people are still buying new vehicles.
Well,
brand new vehicles.
To be honest, I was specifically referring to people who would be buying used vehicles, because I took the time to go and look to see how much those things cost too. In ownership of something like, let's say, a Nissan March versus something like a Nissan Leaf. It's cheaper in the long term, depending on the situation, on infrastructure, my ability to charge the car, for someone to invest in a Nissan Leaf than it is in a Note. But
okay, we got to go to the news. We'll be back. We'll pick it up on the other side. Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We're streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at MorningBlend969 or Facebook.com/MorningBlend969. Text us 422-4796. And now at 8:23, time for another check of your weather for today, brought to you by Bahamas First Insurance. We've got an intensifying low that's going to slowly drag a weak cold front and its associated frontal trough across the area as the low begins to generate sea swells that will impact the northern waters through tonight. For today, for the northwest and central Bahamas, look for variably cloudy and warm conditions with widely scattered showers, mainly along the frontal boundary, and the chance of lingering thunderstorms over Atlantic waters northeast of the area today. Tonight should be mild, and small craft caution in effect for the extreme northwest Bahamas due to swells. Expect gusty winds and higher seas in or near heavy showers and thunderstorms. For the southeast Bahamas today, mostly sunny and warm, with a chance of a few light showers, becoming mostly fair and mild tonight. Temperatures getting up to around 81 Fahrenheit, 27 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 64 Fahrenheit, 18 Celsius. In your extended outlook, that low will continue its northeastward trek away from the area, allowing for high pressure to gradually build as the front sea swells will once again pop up across Atlantic areas and Atlantic exposures along the chain of islands through to Thursday. So for tomorrow, Wednesday, variably cloudy and a bit warm with isolated showers. Thursday, partly sunny and warm with a chance of isolated showers in the northwestern islands and central Bahamas, turning partly cloudy with widely scattered showers in the southeast Bahamas. That's your morning blend weather check, brought to you by Bahamas First Insurance. What's first for you comes first for us. 8:26 the time for another check of your traffic for this morning. In your real-time traffic, we're seeing a number of hotspot areas. We've got Milo Butler Highway, heavy traffic from well south of the Fire Trail roundabout all the way up to Tonic Williams Darling Highway. That's the northbound lanes there. Fire Trail also seeing heavy traffic eastbound from practically Gladstone Road all the way up to Milo Butler Highway this morning. And Gladstone Road also busy from just north of Fire Trail up to JFK Drive in the northbound lane this morning. Tonic Williams Darling Highway seeing some hot spots as well near the roundabout with Milo Butler Highway, so westbound and eastbound as well. to the roundabout this morning. Carmichael Road, a number of hot spots there. We've got westbound, west of Gladstone Road, you're going to be seeing that traffic heading to Coral Harbor Road. Then in between Gladstone, 8th Avenue, heavy traffic there, eastbound mainly. And then east of Fire Trail, you'll be seeing even heavier traffic as you make your way to Blue Hill Road, which is seeing heavy traffic itself from well south of St. Vincent up to the roundabout with Independence Drive. Number of issues on Independence Drive and Tawny Williams Darling Highway in that area. So Independence Drive, both directions between Blue Hill and East Street, you'll be seeing heavy traffic there. And west of the roundabout, as you make your way on to Tawny Williams Darling Highway. In fact, there may be some issues there, and you might want to avoid Tawny Williams Darling Highway if you can. Just west of Blue Hill Road this morning could be a traffic incident there. In eastern New Providence, you've got some other issues as well. Heavy traffic on Eastern Road from San Susie up to Johnson Road, Bernard Road, westbound, heavy traffic, and the intersection of Soldier Wolf and Bernard and Village. You'll be noticing congestion there. Pockets along Prince Charles and Robinson Road, the major intersections, especially Robinson between Old Trail and Soldier Road, Marathon Road, especially heavy this morning northbound between Robinson and Wolf Road. And then West Bay Street, heading back west near Saunders Beach. Once you get around to Go Slow Man, you'll be seeing that heavy traffic. Eastbound mainly and northbound on the New Providence Highway this morning. Those are your hot spots. That's your real-time traffic and your morning blend traffic alert brought to you by RBC Royal Bank, banking reimagined.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
If you love to dance, put your hands up now. If you love to whine, put your hands up. Whoa, there's something in the music. I feel it in the music, yeah. Whoa, there's something in the music, that sweet, sexy music. Oh, when the rhythm starts to hit me down in my soul, I start to lose control, 'cause I'm in love with Bohemian music. And when the rhythm starts to get held down in my back, my body starts to react. It's like I'm under attack when I'm at the farmers, 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 carnivals, farmers, 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 carnivals, farmers.
We are back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Don Sargent. Hey, happy Mardi Gras. Happy Fat Tuesday, folks who are celebrating that today as we get ready for Ash Wednesday tomorrow in the Lenten season. And Bahamas Carnival. Hey, is that a thing still? Are we still doing that? Do you know, Don? Is that going to ever come back? Are we done with it? That's it? Yeah? Okay. There's talk about Junkanoo. We'll get into that a little bit later. But Bahamas Carnival, what's going on? All right. But hey, the carnival season around the world winding down today, again, with Mardi Gras today. We want to move on to some other issues, but the text messages keep coming in about what we've been talking about, climate change, leading now into a discussion about weave and nails. I don't know how, but wow, what's going on this morning? Okay, but I do want to get back to the texter before about us talking nonsense about reducing the duty on electric vehicles. We can have a debate about that, but also the fact that the average transaction price, the average new car price around the world, but especially in the U.S., has gone up significantly, and that a $50,000 cap to benefit with the 10% duty on electric vehicles will not be helpful to many, 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 many people, right? So I'm not sure what you think the cost of electric vehicles is, Texter, but it's not as high as you're thinking. There are many reasonably priced ones, priced near what the average price of a vehicle is in the U.S. today. But in any event, many people will not be able to benefit from that price with a 10% duty. If you go over 50,000, your vehicle is going to be likely attracting a 65% or more duty. So yes, at that rate, then yeah, you're right. Only rich people will be able to afford that. And
yeah, so cars like Nissan Leafs, right? You could get a Leaf that's used from B Ford or any part of Japan for between $6,000 to $7,000, and that's including the cost of shipping. And if it were a situation where we're tax free, that'd be the landed cost of the car. Of course, with like a 1% processing fee and any environmental levy fees. But as it currently stands, there's a 20% on it, 10% duty, and then 1% processing fee, and then obviously the 10% value-added tax on the shipping costs and the cost of the actual vehicle itself. Which obviously, if an electric car costs more up front, you're going to be spending more on that than you would on a gasoline-operated car. But the long-term ownership is supposed to be cheaper on an electric vehicle than it is on a non-electric vehicle, which is why I suggested in the first place. Now, the argument, Dwight, about the new cars is a different story altogether. There are a lot of new electric vehicles coming out, like the Ford F-150 Lightning. Chevy is also launching their own electric truck. There's a lot of things happening in that space, and most car brands are going to be moving in the direction by 2030, between 2030 and 2033, of essentially ditching gasoline-powered vehicles altogether off their lineup. And that's brands from BMW to Ford, Chevy, GMC. Everybody is ditching gas cars. And it is a more expensive upfront cost. Of course, the cost of these things are going down. But I'm saying we have a substantially large used car market in the Bahamas of Bahamians who cannot afford or will not go and take out a loan to purchase a vehicle and then save up cash, put themselves in a position where they could buy a used car from Japan. And I think if you are going to do that, I think it should be cheaper for you, and you should pay for it tax-free. We should even do something, in my opinion, where if it's under $10,000, you could bring it in tax-free. But that's just my opinion. Of course, government still has to make their own decisions and calculations on that and how that's going to affect the bottom line. But car parts will still have, 45% on them. So the government's still going to win on you in parts and on all those other things anyway. So I don't know. If we're serious about this thing of trying to encourage more people to go towards it, I think a little nudge like that could help a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so messages here as we get ready to move on. This person says here, what did the caller say about hair? Dwight, just tuned in. They can spend their money stupidly on hair and nails and other nonsense, but just don't complain while your hair and nails are done. We need the duty on electric cars to be 0% like yesterday. Another text here. Of course, Dwight, no one can tell. Oh, dear Lord. A word I'm not comfortable saying on air. But I'll paraphrase it. People of a darker hue, anything if it's coming from a different hue. I am black and I know my people. You now will not read my text because I'm now being derogatory, but
you called me out, Dwight.
But is my statement not true? Look at the people attacking the lady who made sense. I guarantee you, if she had spoken of weave, 8-inch nails, and overextended eyelashes, it would have been acceptable. What? I mean, she kind of did. But okay, I think I know what you're trying to say. Sure. Another one says here, I'm now convinced things are the way they are because very, very few senior officials understand, much less appreciate the time and effort it takes to properly plan anything. Most senior execs want to see something and quick. So the juniors run around like chickens without heads, patching together something to show. Over time, the ill-planned, ill-thought-out solution breaks down when under all the conditions they failed to understand or plan for, happen. Okay, sure. And you heard the story in the news about the prison and the plan for a new block to withstand a Category 5 hurricane. Can they function with no electricity, meaning sufficient ventilation and no mold buildup? Because the power will be off consistently. Let's not repeat the dome and drone and a shot spotter saga because someone has something bright and shiny to sell us, and the presentation was compelling. Hey man, shot spotter apparently works very well with letting the police know that someone shot somebody.
Are we using those drones? I don't know. But I wanted to ask about the stadium. As I heard the story where the Minister of National Security said it would be between $35 to $40 million, and I'm looking at it with jaundiced eyes. I think the Bahamas does need a new prison. I would say we should have been like Jamaica and ask for reparations and maybe get a prison too. But anyway, my question about that is, is this going to be on budget, or is this just another repeat of the stadium? Because every time I hear government officials say what something's supposed to have, it's never been the case. So should we, as citizens, be looking for the public purse to be paying $60 to $70 million for a $35 to $40 million prison? Like, what should we be expecting?
Well, judging by the past and the way we treat people who are incarcerated, if there was ever a time when we would not meet the target price tag, it'll likely be here, when we undercut and try to save as much as we can. So I wouldn't be surprised. But who knows? But this is just early talk now. This is what he wants, and he has to go to cabinet for this. So this is National Security Wayne Monroe. So it's not been approved or anything, but that's what he's hoping.
I support the construction of a new prison. Absolutely. I'm just very concerned about our country's ability to actually stay on budget for anything. And if this prison is a situation where this will be beginning construction, let's say a year before an election, we know this construction likely is going to stop because there's obviously going to be irregularities somehow in this process. I'm just saying, I'm just so tired of this story. Anytime I hear the government saying they're building anything, I get a little paranoid and I think to myself, oh, there we go. There's $100 million gone now. So I don't know. I have no faith, Dwight.
Yeah. Here's a text here. So we aren't talking about the woman beating the elderly lady, or are we waiting for a man to beat another woman to talk about domestic abuse and elderly abuse? Well, texter, you have some serious problems. But also, we are going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that right now. Take a listen to this. You might have heard it in the news. A very disturbing video is making the rounds about elder abuse. Take a listen to this report from our Jared Higgs.
We're hearing there are the moments a disabled woman was allegedly abused by her caretaker. The video going viral on social media. According to the person who captured the video, it was taken shortly after 5 p.m. on Friday in the parking lot of a popular supermarket. The camera person says she saw an elderly-looking woman wandering around the parking lot in a nightdress and Pampers. 2 minutes later, the other woman in the video shows up and grabs a woman by the wrist. That's when the bystander started filming. Go inside. The video takes an unpleasant turn when the woman gets into the driver's seat. As the bystander films through tinted glass, the sounds of what appears to be somebody being struck and scolded come from within the vehicle. In response, the woman in the nightdress wails.
Would you want, your elderly loved one? Of course not, right? That's like you stand on wall. Like, that's good.
I got little children too, and I don't want nobody to be beaten. You know what I mean? I feel bad for them. I feel bad for too. It's sad, but that's what's sometimes that's what's be happening in this little town.
Members of the public were outraged when the video made the rounds online, with many people calling for the woman in the video to be identified.
It's not nice at all.
When you first saw it, what was your reaction?
It was shocking. It's like, wow, shocking.
I hope they can at least figure out who the person is and they can at least deal with the situation and get to the bottom of it. You on that part, I'm sure you will. But, no.
The person who recorded the video says she was approached by a police officer about potentially making a statement. Our news team and social services officials, but got no response up to news time. Reporting for the Guardian News Network, I am Jared Higgs.
And hearing that audio alone is so painful and heartbreaking. Just a lot. Want to get your reaction to it, but while watching it and then seeing as Jared went to talk to folks to get their reaction to it. I really couldn't help thinking, and this is not good that I was thinking this, that if most people saw someone doing this to a child here, that they would have no issue with what's going on. But when you see it being done to an elderly person, you get it. That the way we handle our children is inappropriate. And
violence begets violence.
Exactly. You would not do this to an adult. You would not do this to an adult. And I hope people see that we've got to change almost every aspect of what we regard as normal around here.
I like how you're saying it so gently, Dwight.
Just, I'm going to be attacked for that.
Oh, yeah. I always get attacked for this. I don't care. The way that we discipline is barbaric, period.
Mm-hmm.
There's countless studies that talk about how beating kids leads to a more dangerous society, or violent society. I rephrase that. Also, issues of domestic violence, looking at our positions on marital rape in this country. I'm not shocked by any of these things. Those things do need to change. We need to call those things out. There, like I said, there's sufficient evidence to point towards why this practice is dumb and stupid and why it's against our interests as a country to continue doing this. The situation we're seeing in this retirement home with the elderly lady, it's deplorable. And I heard earlier that
I don't know if it's a retirement home. Don't know, but we don't know what. But yes.
Or an old folks home, then, as we call it in the Bahamas.
Well, I'm not sure if it's that either.
Well, the person's a caregiver, I presume. Well, I mean, they're not really giving care in that instance.
No clue what's going on.
Lord.
But she knows her. That's all we know. Yeah.
So our charge is being pressed in this instance.
I don't know if people even know who these people are. And so it's a very tricky situation. But let's get your reaction to it, folks. 323-6232. 325-4316. 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Hi, good morning.
Good morning to Dawn. Dwight, Dawn, I sent that same video to a couple of my chat groups also, right? But only one thing, you couldn't see the taxi plate. And I mean, not the taxi plate, the plate number. And see, this forces need to stop in this country. And right now, as I speak, we got a bunch of young men and women that parents are saying, we need to stop the forces in this country, man. See, my mother and father dead. I ain't got no auntie living, I ain't got no uncle, none living. None to love them and cherish them. Now, with the person down, I think they're on the right track. It's time we start volunteering for being people to right. Time we start doing things for us. For it's last everything. The Bahamas is a rich country. And like that one say, go to the rich nations and who owe us all kind of money and let them pay it. They did it for Jamaica. They did it for Barbados. They didn't start doing things for Bahamas. See, I watch government lock up my Bahamas people, homeless people, and they ain't got a place to put them. Does that make any sense? But they can put other people in 90 cents and center, even treat, and one more thing before I go. I agree with Lincoln being and we were doxing. If 10 more thousand us are going to do the same thing, the government would have to react. Because all the foreigners owning everything in this country, and we ain't got nothing to do it. You got to fight sometime, my brother. Time to take my call.
Okay, I don't know what the last part is that you're talking about there. What? But okay, I don't know if I want to hear the rest. But hey, let's continue to get your reaction to the video. A lot of people outraged by this. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. I do want to hear from the folks who are going to say you're talking nonsense. How could you mix this up with how people treat children? These children are too rude. They need to learn. Spare the rod, spoil the child. You can't. Right. Let's hear it. And what would have happened if someone saw a child walking around and someone grabs the child, spanks the child in the car? Would you record? Would you be outraged? Would you have an issue with it? Or would you just these children, rude boy? Let's hear. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Dwight.
Hi.
Good morning to you and your guest.
Good morning.
It's amazing, Dwight. I always will never change my fight the family structure is eroded and has also already been replaced. I have an 88-year-old mother. But let me show you the biasness in this. That was a man, Sandra Dane Patterson and her crew, who would feminize and emasculate man. She would have been all over the news. The little girl, Bella, you haven't heard anything from Sandra Dane Patterson.
That's ridiculous. Why are you picking on people? I mean, come on now. Everyone has been talking. Ridiculous what you're saying. And this is just Tuesday. Fair. No, I think you need to be fair. Why are you calling out the people's names? And that's not true. People are speaking out. They just now, yesterday, many people just saw that video for the first time. And what does this have to do with male or female or man or woman or anything like that? This is elder abuse. That's not acceptable. You speak out. You speak out. What if something's going on in that person's life and they're not able to speak? Why are we watching those people? What do you have to say? Where is this coming from? We get this every day. How come this group didn't speak out about this? Why are you all watching them?
Deflection and whataboutism.
God. This doesn't make any sense. Come on, people. We're not going to get anywhere if you keep acting like this. Why are you watching them? What do you think? Is it wrong? Do you have a problem? What can we do about it? Who cares if that group never speaks out about it? What do you say? Oh, man.
Dwight, like I said, it's deflection. It's obviously whataboutism of like, yeah, what if this is a problem? What about this other group? I understand what they're saying, but at the same thing, I don't think it's applicable or it applies. I think it's just an excuse at this point. And I agree with you, Dwight. What is your opinion on the matter? Is this problematic that this is happening? Are we condoning this behavior? Is this to be the norm? Or is this more normal than we think it is in the Bahamas? So many questions it raises. And I'm actually looking forward to what people have to say too.
Let's see what this caller has to say. Good morning. You're on the air. Okay. We have another one? Yeah.
Hey,
good morning.
Good
Hi.
morning.
Hi. Good morning.
Trust all is well. Dwight, I can say from my perspective, I imagine someone actually beating my 87-year-old mother and do not react to it. I am all against abusing the elderly in particular, because first and foremost, you don't know what that and you don't know what symptoms or what ailments that person may be going through. So that right there is a plus. Abuse to any elderly in this country is not to be accepted. As far as disciplining a child is concerned, however, I mean, that's a double-edged sword to me, because some children, to be honest with you, depending upon their environment, you don't know what they're exposed to. A lot of teachers can say what in many cases what some of these students do in the classroom, and you have to discipline them. Some you have to discipline, some you could do with just talking, and so it's a double-edged sword. When you made the statement, my mind went to, for instance, what happened in some of the states with Columbine and all that stuff, with these children who aren't punished. Some of them, you will get through, and some you won't. So it's a double-edged sword to me. Finally, with the prison situation, it's really amazing that the amount of contraband that was reported, 100 cell phones in the prison, as well as the instruments used to create maim and hurt. How can these things exist in the prison and nobody knows about it? What kind of systems do we have at the prison to look at these things? And yet we are talking about building another state-of-the-art prison, and we haven't even bothered to even taking care of the other simple things that we should have under control. Is very troubling. Thanks for taking my call this morning.
Thanks a lot. I mean, I don't know if you can ever get
things
entirely under control in a situation like that. There will always be people throwing things over a wall and people smuggling things in. It's going to be a challenge.
I mean, we've had people literally go to WhatsApp statuses from prison or comment on what happened in politics during election season in prison with Jordans on and everything. So I mean, like, we can't have Pikachu face now with what's happening in the prison. But one thing the caller did talk about was the situation with
What did you call it? What type of face?
A Pikachu face.
Pikachu face.
Yes.
Okay. Wow.
Indeed. Can't be shocked and surprised.
I see.
Because we know what's going on, right? I'm just saying. I'm glad something seems to be getting done about it. But again, it's something you said earlier about the situation with children, what they're going through. Is I understand that these situations are extraordinarily complex in the environment the children are growing up in, which is why their parents are so absolutely important in raising their children. I don't think if a child is showing, I don't think. The research shows that if a child is showing problematic behaviors in school, beating them is not the most sensible solution to the problem. You're not dealing with any of the problems. If, for instance, a child is involved in gang activity, obviously there's some things going on at home, some failures and inefficiencies being done by the parents. And there's a variety of reasons why those things happen. You can't, I've been saying this for years, you cannot apply physical punishment by ailments that the children to criminals across the wide swath. There was a whole study done on this as well. Even outside the Bahamas, and we duplicated part of it, right? Talk to criminals about why they do the things they do. What are the motivations? What happened in their home life when they were growing up? It's almost unanimously the same story. And the situation, I think, in the United States with mass shootings is an entirely different issue altogether. We do have a gun problem in the Bahamas, undoubtedly. And yes, guns are also in our schools. And yes, oftentimes the children are toting guns in the schools. Parents do beat them. I've spoken to teachers who've dealt with those situations where they had searches and students had handguns in their bags. A variety of reasons. And most of them say that they're doing these things for self-defense because there's a lot of things happening in their neighborhoods that we're not dealing with. A lot of things happening at home that we're not dealing with. So I'm not going to sit there and say that I support that. I understand why the caller is saying that, but I would disagree.
All right, I think we have one more call, and we do need to take a break. Let's take our call and then take the break. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Hey, good morning, Dwight.
Hi, good morning.
Oh, then good morning, Don, and good morning to those who wake up in the land of the living. Dwight, you know something? That video, I saw it. And you know what's the first thing I did, Mr. Straw? I have a friend, I almost call her name, who works in social service. And I asked her, she saw it. So I sent it to the caller, right? Instead of y'all calling these talk shows every time, go to these departments or go to other people. Yes, the talk show is a platform to get your voice out, and you can talk to the talk show host. But I encourage Bahamian people, and especially the person who recorded that, because when I saw the video, on social media, people commented. And my first comment was, how could you sit in your car and record that? And call the police or come with your car and call, because security does be in that parking lot. I wouldn't call the food store near. Why didn't you do that? But you prefer to record it, to put it on social media, to look for likes, look for people to criticize. And I think that Bahamian people who have these phones, some of our Bahamian people who have these phones, use these phones to help people. Because we don't know how that situation, when that person left, that person didn't even have to still be alive. You could have been the one, instead of recording it, call the police. Call the police or call for help. Come out your car and scream. Do something. From you see the lady walking around like that, you know something wrong. Don't just record things to put on social media to look for likes. And then you got people calling the talk shows, why is Sandra Dean Patterson? Why you ain't call the Women Crisis Center? Why you ain't call the children's home or the old folks home? Do something, Bahamian people. We are, and it's high time we stop using these phones to look for likes and look for comments. Have a good day, my brothers.
Okay. Well, I think we can do both, right? Not for the likes, but to record so that people can understand and see, but also, yes, call for help. Call for help, definitely. And that should be your first thought there. Let's take this break. We got a whole bunch of text messages and a lot more to talk about. We're going to be back. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Stay with us.
Bahamas Honey Bun, Nassau, keep bringing the world to you. Are you ready to get on nasty?
If you're looking to diversify your portfolio, chart a course for RF Mutual Funds, where you can get global returns through our suite of internationally invested funds. Get European and emerging markets without central bank approval. And with financial services leader Morgan Stanley as the advisor of our international funds, you can benefit from RF's global connections. Set sail for international markets today by visiting rfgroup.com. RF, money at work.
Around the world, Cleveland Clinic is recognized as a leader in healthcare. Our team of experts relentlessly pursue the best for our patients. From groundbreaking cancer research to state-of-the-art heart surgery, life-saving innovations happen here every day. When it comes to travel for your health, it's time to travel to Cleveland Clinic, your destination for care, for every care in the world. To learn more, visit clevelandclinic.org/Caribbean.
Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Street, has those hard-to-find fasteners for you right now. You can find stainless steel regular hex, carriage bolts, gallop bolts, self-tap screws, sex bolts, anchor bolts, turnbuckles, masonry tools, hand tools, and weed whacker strings. Check out the rope selection and car body fasteners, too. Special orders are welcome. It's your #1 fastener store. Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Streets. Call 326-1976.
I have to take a business trip, and I want John to keep things running while I'm away. How can I ensure he keeps within budget? Maybe I need to get him a camera to record everything he does 24/7. Maybe not. Instead, get RBC Credit Share, the RBC credit card feature that allows you to easily and safely share funds with employees for free. And you set the spending limit, so you're always in control. Find out more at rbc.com/Caribbean/credit share. Special conditions apply.
Wake up, it's a new day.
Radio 96.9, Dwight Strachan along with Don Sargent. Coming up in Morning Blend Business, more of what's making news in the business world, including potential penalties for Carnival for dumping in Bahamian waters, and Gladstone Road, the town meeting on what they proposed for the expansion, the improvement of Gladstone Road. I want to get your reaction to that. And more, including Junkanoo. A lot to talk about in Business News Roundup coming up in Morning Blend Business in just a few minutes. Want to have you stick around for that and tell us what you think. Don, a few text messages before we break for news headlines. Someone says here, this is back to electric vehicles. We need more charging stations around the island. I live in a complex, so where will I charge my vehicle? Yeah, that's a great question. And
yep, that's. But I think also having more of them with increased demand for it will also drive that. But I do think there should be more infrastructure. I thought about too when I was looking at getting an electric car. Although I'm now looking at it now with gas prices going up again.
But we need these complex owners or whoever manages these things to be thinking about that as well. What are you going to do?
Well, now's a good time to write up business proposals. People that are in this space or would like to be in the business of essentially of EVs. This is an excellent market to break into, like installing these things at apartment complexes and making some money. I'm just saying, but the text was absolutely right. That is a concern even I've been thinking about.
Well, we've got that big, old, huge solar, is it a farm? I don't know what to call it, but the parking lot at the sports center, and that has never been used the way it's supposed to have been used.
Is that even working?
I don't know. They say it does, but
is it like the camera charging there?
Is
it like the cameras we have on the street where they say working and then sometimes the camera just in?
Well, people use them for shade and they park their cars under there just so they're out of the heat. But that's a giant waste, and we need to know what's going on there. But very unfortunate. I know I saw a Tesla plug on it. It was so sad. I don't know. Anyway. This person here, back to the video. Watching that video hurt my heart. However, I'll approach this from a different angle. Parents, do your best to properly care for your children so when you get old, they will do their best to care for you. Well, yes, but I mean, I hope you're not suggesting that because your parent used to tear you or whatever up that you will wait till you get old. I'm going to deal with you. No, right? That's not what you're saying, right? I know that's not what you're saying, sure. But yeah, everybody treat everybody the way they want to be treated. And that's very important that we keep that in mind. A couple more messages here. Someone says, every year is getting shorter, never seems to find the time. Plans that either come to naught or another page of scribbled lines. Hanging on in quiet desperation is the English way. Getting old is more tragic than dying young. Thank Thank you for that. Was that like a poem? I don't know what's going on. Anyway, this one here, the video was disgusting and there's no excuse for it. We must be civilized. That person who took the video of that elderly lady being beaten should have stopped that person from beating the lady. Some people seem to know who they are. Someone's saying they're not really that old, and they may be related. And okay, this one says here the relative will be in trouble because she was caught. But we have a culture of black rage in this country. Plenty of people who are going to be in church on Sunday guilty of abusing their children, spouses, significant others, family members, and coworkers. This happens every minute of every day in every space. And we justify it because you make me mad, or you under my roof, or I is the boss, or I lend you money. This is commonplace. Oh, man. Wow.
I don't even understand. I've seen that. So very astute observation, Texter.
Yeah, right. People are going to be outraged, but they're doing the same, if not worse, to others. And again, stop looking around at what the other people are saying about it. What do you say? What do you say? Right? We're going to read these other messages after the break. Don, I know you have to run, unfortunately.
Yes.
Oh, boy. Okay, so I'll talk with you next week, but we'll get into these other messages and more coming up in a few minutes. Stick around, folks. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio, 96.9.
This is Guardian Radio, 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning and welcome to Morning Blend Business on this Tuesday, March 1st, 2022. Welcome back to our morning time, Dwight Strachan. This morning we're doing our Morning Blend Business Roundup of some of the big issues in the business world today. A lot to talk about, lots going on. I want to talk about Gladstone Road and the expansion improvement. There was a virtual public meeting yesterday. I want to talk about what they're proposing. I'm going to get your reaction to that. Also, Carnival, the Bahamas considering penalties for Carnival Cruise Lines for dumping in Bahamian waters, and some recalls to tell you about as well. We do want to continue discussing what we were talking about earlier in the show as well. There's a lot going on about climate change, concerns about that, and whether we are sufficiently concerned about it here other than when we are on the international stage and talking about it and making appeals to other countries to do something. But are we practicing what we preach? And we've been getting some strong reaction to this morning, and that has led us into many different directions, including debates about bills and the infrastructure that's needed to support more widespread use of electric vehicles in the country. So a lot happening here this morning. But you can join the conversation, 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. And I do want to get to some of the messages we were talking about from what we were talking about before about abuse in the country. I know that's not quite related to business here, but I do want to Some of these messages were very powerful when I read them. But this one came in as well about what we just mentioned before the break about the solar system there. The solar, is that what you call them? The charging stations at the stadium that just seem to be sitting there. This person says, Dwight, that solar thing at the stadium was a total swing job in front of our eyes. It was presented as if it was going to power homes. No, I don't think that was ever what they said, I believe. But anyway, it was supposed to power homes, but if you recall, they dug up Nassau Street soon after. I hear it helps power the point downtown. It would be good to get more information about what's going on exactly, and if it is available for people with electric vehicles to charge there. Again, I don't recall ever seeing one being charged there, and there are few solar sites on the island, and most people seem to do it at their homes. Back to what we were talking about abuse. I don't understand what this text is, though. This person's trying to say about the women in the video that we were talking about earlier, that they're supposed to be related, but that one is unruly and at times difficult to deal with. But that doesn't justify that, right? That's not what you're saying, right? It will be full. Have to get help. Have to, unfortunately, put some of the relatives in homes. But abuse like that, there's no justification for it. What will that do? How will it help you? This texter, I appreciate how you bring order to the show. People really need to stop calling and defaming others. The main problem with disciplining children is the severe lack of positive reinforcement. Often spankings are done with hate, anger, and bitterness. If done correctly, a spanking has its place, but I definitely pray for more love and affection in the home. By the way, spanking is not the only form of discipline, and I get that. Yeah. Another person here says, my mom will celebrate her 95th birthday on April 28th. April 28th, that's a very good day. Your mom is good people. She has 10 living children, and sometimes we rotate taking care of her along with the caretaker. Not all the children help, but that's on them. It is not easy, but I said to myself, my mom took good care of me, and now I'm proud of her. Some children are so ungrateful toward their parents, but one day they will get old and see what their children will do for them. Wow. And this text here, a country is judged by how it protects the vulnerable, especially the very young and the very old. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think we're doing pretty poorly in many regards on both of those. Right? Oh, boy. Let's take this call. Good morning, caller. You're on Morning Blend Business.
Good morning.
Hi.
I just want to comment on the climate change.
Yes, please.
I don't take anything that comes from this country, whether it's speaking internationally or not, until we start doing what we need to do. And in my humble opinion, the first thing that we need to do is look at alternative energy for BPL. Start or happen, it's just a bunch of hot air.
Now, when you say we, do you mean the company, the corporation itself? Okay. Yes. Not just on an individual basis, as in every homeowner do their own thing.
No, because the reason our power bills are so high and the reason it's so expensive to operate a business in this country is some places, in fact, I've had this experience. My power bill has been more than my mortgage payment. It's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
And not everybody can come up with $50,000, $60,000 to solarize their house.
Yeah. Is it still that way? Is it still that high?
No.
Yeah.
But with what's going on in the world, that's going to change very quickly.
Quite possibly. And we were talking about this earlier, the statement that BPL issued and then quickly recalled about a fuel rate change that was supposed to go into effect today, but that was quickly recalled, published by some organizations on their social media. But that might be a sign of things to come. So a lot of people are a little nervous about that right now. But yeah, we definitely have to be thinking, accelerating the plans. They keep saying that they want to have more renewables in place by 2030, but are we doing enough?
Do you see anything changing or starting to change to move us in that direction? No.
Just talk.
Talk is
Yeah.
cheap. I want to see action now.
Yeah, you are right.
Have a good
Thank
day.
you very much. Appreciate it. All right. So continue to message us about that. Call in 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Let's take this call. Good morning, caller. Good morning, Blend Business.
Yeah, good morning, Dwight, and your co-host. How you doing?
Doing well.
Wonderful. I totally agree with that lady who just called just now. However, just to add a little something to what she is doing something about it, but it ain't for the poor people. Because if you look around the town, you drive around the town, you look on the top of the roofs of the guys from the Orient, from the East, all their roofs, most of their roofs are solar panels. I don't know why they don't make them that a requirement for most businesses that come into this country now, that you got to do some type of solarization or alternative energy rather than sucking from the one little grid we got there.
Make it a requirement. Now, what do you mean by that? Like, how would you do that?
If said Dwight wants to come to the Bahamas to do business, we tell him, okay, Dwight, there's a certain amount of solar energy you got to incorporate in your business, or alternative energy, rather than just sucking everything from the plant down there with BBL gas. You see? And in reference to the abuse thing, that's very unfortunate. I wouldn't like that to happen to my worst enemy. And I hope the perpetrator of that crime is found and charged to the fullest. While we're talking about abuse, we need to add in the fact that straight across the civil servant, from the police to the hospitals, we got abuse. And we need to address all of them at one time. Thanks for taking the call.
Okay, don't go yet. I want to ask you about what you said
sir.
earlier. You mentioned where the people are from. I don't know why you did that, but I mean, they're not the only ones who are doing this. You're seeing more and more homes and businesses. They're adding solar.
You sound a little low, Dwight.
Yeah, I'm saying I don't know why you mentioned where you think those people are from, but I mean, people are doing this. We're seeing more and more homes. Yes, it's in affluent areas or affluent people in areas doing it, but more businesses and homes are adding solar to their establishments. But people are doing this if they can, if they are financially able to, and if it's in their budget.
Well, okay, maybe I might have been I might have said the area they from, but I ain't called no name, right? But, okay, let me break it down a little more to what you're saying, to agree with what you're saying. It's only, like, things like that is affordable for the affluent in this country. And it really should be able to trickle down to folks like myself. You understand me?
Okay, I hear you.
Okay,
yes.
thanks.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Okay. Someone commenting on the solar, what do you call that? Solar park? Is that, solar park? They say the stadium solar park was to supplement the stadium's power, but not sure if it ever did. Yeah, yep. And they did say you should be able to charge vehicles there. Yeah, okay. All right, so as we said, continue to message us and call in about that and all that we've been talking about this morning. So I want to talk about Glaston Road. I don't know if you took part in the virtual public meeting, but this has been in the works for quite a while. Expanding and improving Glaston Road, it desperately needs both. The road has become very, very, very busy. In the last few years, a couple decades, I guess, and it is not built for the amount of traffic that it sees now, and it desperately needs to be paved. But there's been talk for years about expanding it to add more lanes, and so there was a virtual public meeting about this yesterday. So this is what they say they want to do: widen the existing roadway from 2 to 4 lanes, construct a central median with street lighting, and relocate existing utilities. They also plan to construct 5 new roundabouts and improve the JFK and Glaston Road roundabout and the construction of new sidewalks. And there was also talk about doing something similar for Carmichael Road. But let's get your reaction to that. What do you make of that? Is it sufficient? 5 new roundabouts. Should some of these be intersections, perhaps, instead of roundabouts, especially seeing as we have so many people who still seem to be incapable of understanding how to use a roundabout. I know somebody messaged us earlier to say that there didn't seem to be any provisions for bus stops. I'm not sure if that is the case, but let's get your reaction to all of this. What do you make of it? 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us. I'm trying to pull up where they said the roundabout. I know I did see that, but finally, you would love to know how long this is going to take, but desperately needed. If you've been on Glaston Road any time in the last 5-10 years, you know it. And every morning we talk about the heavy traffic from Fire Trail all the way up to JFK Drive, and it's gotten worse with the number of businesses on the northern side, the northern end of it. As you approach, the closer you get to JFK Drive, some serious high traffic establishments are there, and that is just adding to the traffic situation. And it seems whether it's morning, midday, night, you've got tons of traffic to deal with there. Let's get your reaction to it. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. I think that is that if you call there? Yeah, that. No, okay. Text us 422-4796. So again, 5 roundabouts, an existing roadway expanding to 4 lanes and a central median. So it wouldn't be like Prince Charles Drive. And an expansion and improvement of the JFK and Glaston Road roundabout, which, as you know, if you're out there, there are some real challenges there. The traffic is backed up quite a ways there at almost any hour of the day. What are your ideas on dealing with that issue there? Text us about that, call in about that. And also in business news, we've got the country really looking at how it's dealing with cruise lines, especially Carnival, and they're charged with dumping or been accused of dumping in Bahamian waters, and looking at the penalties. The transport minister talking about this yesterday. Listen to this report from our Berthany McDermott.
Sanctions could be on the way for Carnival Cruise Lines, according to Transport Minister JoBeth Colby-Davis. Her comments come days after environmentalist Sam Duncombe called for the government's investigation into Carnival's alleged dumping of sewage and waste in Bahamian waters to be published. While she didn't say if details of that probe will be published, she revealed that it is now on to the Department of Public Prosecutions.
I was advised that the office had handed that investigation over to the DPP, who has to carry out and complete the environmental portion of that report so they can determine which sanctions would be placed on Carnival. And so I think the discussion now lies with the DPP and the Attorney General's office to determine which what the penalties would be as relates to Carnival. And so my office just did the investigation along with them because that falls under us when it's those sort of incidents. But
in 2019, discovered that Carnival ships dumped hundreds of thousands of gallons of treated sewage and more than 8,000 gallons of food waste in Bahamian waters in 2017. The court found that Carnival violated the International Convention for the Prevention of Pollution from Ships, which speaks to how food waste and sewage should be disposed of. While in opposition, Prime Minister Philip Davis was a vocal proponent of the investigation and urged the government to assess the damage done and remedy potential damage at Carnival's cost. Colby-Davis added that the details of the report weren't surprising to her. She said what's important is the right reaction.
Right now, the important factor is that the proper response is put out. I don't want to preempt anything. I know that they're working on it along with the Attorney General's office. And so once they do what is necessary and provide the correct sort of penalties, if that is the case, then I think we'd be in a better position to show our strength to the larger international community.
McCall be the precedent and will cause vessels entering Bahamian waters to be more respectful of the environment.
This isn't something that you would see done anywhere else. And so the respect is something that we're raising for them to have that relationship with us, to be allowed to carry out the cruise services and not give us that same respect that they would give in any other territory, in any other jurisdiction.
Reporting for the Guardian News Network, I'm Berthany McDermott.
All right, so let's get your reaction to both of these stories. Carnival and Gladstone Road Improvement Project. They're calling it GRIP. Gladstone Road Improvement Project. Okay. I found the information here. So Gladstone Road is a main arterial road connecting John F. Kennedy Drive to Carmichael Road along a predominantly north-south axis. Gladstone Road is approximately 3 miles long, a single carriageway within a 100-foot wide road reservation. This is on their website, gripbahamas.com. Gladstone Road serves as a on the island to the major industrial center of New Providence. As a primary route, it's subject to long delays and high volumes of traffic on a daily basis that are anticipated to worsen with new development. The government of the Bahamas, through the Ministry of Works and Utilities, seeks to undertake the widening of the route from a single lane to a dual carriageway. Expanding the roadway to a dual carriageway will provide increased vehicle capacity, reduction in travel delays, intersection improvements, and improved safety for motorists and pedestrians. The improvement will include a new storm drainage collection system, new LED street lighting, new road markings, sidewalks, and a bicycle trail. Bicycle trail, well, okay. The JFK and Carmichael Road roundabouts will be redesigned to improve traffic flow and safety. Okay, so there's no roundabout at Carmichael now. So is that what they're planning on doing? Okay, right? There's no roundabout there. Nope. Will be improve traffic flow and safety. Additional roundabouts will be installed along Gladstone Road to improve traffic flow at major intersections and provide turning movements for motorists on Gladstone Road. So they're proposing the JFK roundabout realignment, Rubis gas station roundabout, Aquinas College roundabout, Fire Trail Road roundabout. I actually think that one's a really good idea. Rocky Pine Road roundabout and Carmichael Road roundabout. The improvements to Gladstone Road are collectively referred to as the Gladstone Road Improvement Project, GRIP. All right, so let's hear what you have to say about that. And again, back to Carnival as well. So in between those there. Dwight, you're speaking as if Bahamians know how to use intersections or traffic lights. Well, here we go. This is back to what I was talking about. I've been talking about driver's ed in schools. Now, somebody after the show, and then when I was really going hard on that one, sent a message about how driver's ed won't stop people from running red lights, and right, you don't need driver's ed to know that you shouldn't do that. Yeah, sure, point taken, but we also have a lot of people who clearly don't know the fundamentals and don't know what certain signs mean and just don't seem to have an understanding of what lane markings are about and what that means and why you shouldn't stop here and why you should just stop maybe a few feet further up and how much of a difference that will make. And when to shoot out of a corner, and why you don't need to shoot out of a corner when there's nobody behind the car that's approaching you, right? Things like that. Okay. This person here says, roundabouts or intersections, it really doesn't matter because drivers don't obey either. Our drivers are inconsiderate and rude and lack basic driving skills and manners. Unfortunately, very true. Unfortunately, very, very, very true. Very sad. Another message here. This is back to BPL. The problem is BPL wants more people on the grid to keep the billion people that work for them employed. Well, I don't know if that's quite sure. All right. So we're going to take a break. When we come back, more of your reaction to this and more of what's making news, including Junkanoo on this Mardi Gras day around the world. Could we be seeing Junkanoo this year? It's all much more likely than it was last year this time. Hey? We're going to talk about that in this business news roundup morning here on Morning Blend Business on Guardian Radio 96.9. Stay with us.
Free fuel for a year with CIBC First Caribbean and Esso. Use your CIBC First Caribbean Visa debit or credit card to fuel up with $25 or over at any participating Esso service station, and you are automatically entered for a chance to win the grand prize and weekly prizes of $200 in fuel or cash. Offer runs until March 20th, 2022. Terms and conditions apply. Visit CIBCFCIB.com for more details. The Esso brand is a trademark of the ExxonMobil Corporation and is used under license.
Earning zero interest on your savings at the bank? With as little as $100, you can start earning interest on your money while you're sleeping, eating, or standing in line at the bank with the CFAL Savings Express Plan. Ready to invest? Start by putting $1,000 into our mutual funds and earn interest there too. Because at CFAL, your interest is our interest. Visit CFAL.com to start now. CFAL, growing wealth for future generations of Bahamians.
We know how important collecting your money can be to the success of your business. Start your relationship with Fidelity today so that we can show you the many options available to you with our merchant services. From click and pay options online to merchant terminals and e-commerce options. We're here to help your business succeed. For more details, speak to one of our business development officers at 356-7764 in Nassau or 352-6676 in Freeport. Visit our website at fidelitygroup.com or visit any of our branches.
It's time for your morning business report brought to you by CFAL. Despite the spread of the Omicron variant, tourism maintained its recovery momentum in January, according to the most recent data from the Central Bank of the Bahamas. In January, there were more than 77,171 departures from Linden-Pindling International Airport, up from the roughly 23,000 recorded in January 2021. The Central Bank and the January numbers further cemented the trend that started in December, during which more than 500,000 tourists visited the country. The monthly economic and financial developments report for January revealing that Trump indicated that the sector's output maintained its recovery momentum, notwithstanding the spread of the COVID pandemic. The report noting that the latest available data from the Ministry of Tourism showed that total visitor arrivals by first port of entry expanded to more than 500,000 in December from a mere 33,000, just over that, in the corresponding period for 2020 when international borders reopened with restrictions. While New Providence historically receives more tourists, the Family Island outpaced the capital in December, with New Providence attracting 231,139 from 18,525 a year earlier, and the Family Islands attracting 257,224. Read more on this in today's Guardian Business section. A survey conducted by a leading travel, loyalty, and cruise booking technology firm has found that half of its respondents are interested in the Caribbean in 2022, interested in cruises longer than 3 days. In addition, 17% of respondents plan to visit the Bahamas. According to the Arivia consumer cruise survey, travelers are choosing historically popular destinations with a desire for luxury cruise experiences. And almost half of the respondents who had booked or were planning to book a cruise had their eye on the Caribbean. Research revealing in a new UN-backed report on climate change directly linked the benefits of governments mobilizing large-scale investment in climate change adaptation to the acceleration of gross domestic product. Heyman, Dr. Adele Thomas, a senior fellow at the University of the Bahamas, contributed to the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change's 6th assessment report. The report revealing that the current public and private sector financial flows to facilitate climate change adaptation, the process of adjusting to current or expected climate change and its effects, are much smaller than needed, and improve generate substantial employment opportunities and open up profitable investment frontiers, but could lead to accelerated annual growth rates of at least 7% in the least developed countries. Overseas, in a globalized world, a planet stitched together by intricate supply chains, banking, sports, and countless other threads of deep connection. Until it isn't, Russia this week abruptly cut off from the larger world on multiple fronts, and its ability to bank internationally has been curtailed. Its participation in major international sports is also crumbling, and its planes are being restricted over Europe. Its vodka may no longer be welcome in multiple places, including many U.S. states, and even Switzerland, whose very name, a shorthand for neutrality, is carefully turning its back on Vladimir Putin. In barely 3 days, Russia's become an international outcast because of its invasion of Ukraine, and its leader finding himself with fewer and fewer foreign friends. The actions against Moscow are happening in diverse far regions, and that's striking to many. European nations, notably united on the issue, have closed their airspace to Russian planes, and the SWIFT international financial system, which enables billions of dollars in transactions from more than 11,000 banks and other institutions around the world, has restricted key Russian banks from its network, a potential bloody blow to Russian finances. Meanwhile, global oil and gas giant Shell announcing that it's pulling out of Russia as President Vladimir Putin's invasion of Ukraine continues to cost the country's all-important energy industry foreign investment and expertise. Shell announced its intention to exit its joint ventures with Russia's state-owned energy giant Gazprom and related entities, including a 27.5% stake in a key liquefied natural gas project, as well as 50% stakes in 2 projects that are developing oil fields in Siberia. Shell also said it intends to aim to a controversial pipeline built to carry Russian natural gas to Western Europe. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz halted certification of the project after Russia invaded Ukraine. And automaker Stellantis is planning to have 50% of its U.S. sales and all of its European sales be from electric vehicles by the end of the decade. The company is saying today that it anticipates having more than 75 battery electric vehicles and global annual BEV sales of 5 million by 2030. Stellantis says the Jeep brand will have its first fully electric SUV launching early next year, and a new Ram 1500 BEV battery electric vehicle pickup truck will arrive in 2024. The company also aims to increase planned battery capacity by 140 gigawatt hours to approximately 400 gigawatt hours. Last month, Stellantis said it made $13.4 billion in its first year after it was formed from the merger of Fiat Chrysler Automobiles and PSA Group. Closer to home in your Market Watch, recapping trading on the BISX from Monday, your market movers, Cable Bahamas moving 6,400 shares, closing unchanged at 330. Colina Holdings moving 4,000, up 5 cents to 715. Focall moving 17,960, up 4 cents to 394. Consolidated Water up 3 cents to 191. Emira Incorporated up 11 cents to 1141. The BISX All-Share Index closing at 2,246.81, up 2.33. That's your Market Watch. And that is your morning business report, brought to you by CFAL, growing wealth for future generations.
This traffic report is brought to you by Shield Insurance and Prudential Law Adjusters. Final look at traffic this morning, and before 9 on punches and getting out this morning. Gladstone Road traffic line still hefty, attempting to get up there on the JFK. And some Alabama Highway, a little disappointing this morning, didn't have the assistance in the roundabout that they normally do at the Body Swing and Darling intersection. And so even though the line has been reduced significantly, it still got some remnants of that morning traffic flow hanging out there attempting to get out. Jamaica Road going through its usual challenges on the exit at Blue Hill Road. Single line of traffic. Moving though, getting out through the traffic light there on Blue Hill Road. However, getting over the hill slowed down again, especially by the action coming off of Independence Drive West Lane coming into that Blue Hill Road roundabout. And the 6-leg roundabout really slowed things down this morning. You had hefty traffic line coming in from JFK side, coming in through the Sports Center, coming in from New Providence Avenue on the north side. They've been laid down, so it's been slow getting through that particular circle. Once out though, they're using Farrington Road and University Drive to finally get into the city. And while Marathon Road has simmered down, not having as hefty a traffic flow as it did just within the last 30 minutes or so, you still got a stop and go wait line on Soldier Road going into that Wolf Village, Burnett and Soldier Road intersection and the Eastern Road. While it's easy on the end getting out onto Shirley Street, there's still a serious traffic line backed up all the way to Fox Hill Road that kind of slows down but picks up speed as it gets closer to the exit on Shirley Street. And then there's West Bay Street. You still had that bumper-to-bumper ride going into the roundabout at Saunders Beach. But once clear of that, the ride from there gets a whole lot better, and it's an easier ride getting into the city along West Bay Street there. Slowed down, mind you, but easier ride. This is National Traffic Report, the service of J.S. Johnson, the only insurance agents and brokers giving you peace of mind in the Bahamas for over 100 years. With a final look at traffic this morning, I'm VA-double-N.
Michael was in a horrible car accident. Prudential Loss Adjusters managed his claim and got him the settlement he deserved. Sierra's roof received hurricane damage. Thanks to Prudential, she and her kids are happy with their claim settlement. Tammy fractured her ankle in a slip and fall. Prudential saved her time, money, and peace. Are here for you whenever a tragedy strikes. Call 322-4026 now.
Protect the things that really matter to you. Shield Insurance is the insurance company that grows with you to meet your insurance needs through this beautiful adventure we call life. From automobile to home to life and health, boat, liability, construction, and business insurance, Shield has affordable policies, flexible options, friendly service, and the expertise to protect your hard-earned assets. Shield Insurance agents and brokers in Nassau call 356-7202 or Freeport 352-5945.
This is Guardian Radio, your station for up-to-the-minute news, intelligent, interactive, and engaging conversation. 96.9 FM.
Back here with Morning Blend Business on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan with you on this Tuesday morning. We're doing a business news roundup. A lot of the issues in the news this morning. And getting a reaction to some of the things we've talked about this morning as the country looks at penalties for Carnival Cruise Lines for dumping in Bahamian waters, the planned expansion of Gladstone Road to 4 lanes with a number of roundabouts, and we're going to get into Junkanoo in just a bit. But let's get more of your messages in here, and you can text us 422-4796, 422-4796, or tweet us at morningblend969, or facebook.com/morningblend969, and call in 323-6232. 325-4316-4259. All right, so with Gladstone Road, this text message says here, how about no roundabouts? More accidents in these than in 4-way intersections. Are you sure about that? I don't know if that's accurate. Where are you getting that from? I know we have quite a lot of people who don't know what they're doing, and they do cause accidents, but more than 4-way intersections? I mean, I need to see the figures on that. I don't know. Okay. And this text here says the traffic situation is the result of government not developing the major family islands. Well, okay. I mean, if yes, sure. I mean, there are more people, definitely. The majority of the country lives on this island. And so that means there will be a lot of people here. I guess that's one way to look at it. Sure. Okay. But 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Let's take this call. Good morning, caller. Good morning, Blend Business.
Good morning, Dwight. How you doing?
Doing well.
That's awesome. I agree with the text and no roundabouts because right now, as you can see, roundabouts from on East Street coming out of South Beach is a problem. Roundabout on Blue Hill Road coming from out of South Beach is a problem. Roundabout right now going into Bama coming over Glassman Road is a problem. So could you imagine putting roundabouts, 3 to 4 roundabouts on that thoroughfare? That's the problem.
What do you see as the problem? What exactly is your view that? Why do you say it's a problem?
Because if you got traffic coming from east, let's look at the one out at JFK on Glassman Road.
Mm-hmm.
Once they're coming from the east, buddy, coming over the hill, I want to think about. I use that thoroughfare just about every day, and if you don't get up early in the morning. And then again, thank God they open up the road that takes you to the airport, that you can shortcut, because you'll be lined up all the way close to Carmichael Road sometimes, or Fire Trail Road. So I don't agree with no roundabout. You got to find another solution.
Do you think traffic lights would be better? I mean, because some of the intersections with lights.
Traffic lights would be better because what you're going to do is you're going to time the traffic lights to give the ones that running north and south a longer time than the ones that are running from east and west. So traffic lights are better. Also, right, we have a serious problem, this little off of this traffic. My son was in a little fender bender yesterday. The guy came out there, three-car collision. Probably the guy was on his phone, I don't know, but hit the guy running hit my son. He tell them he's going to go. He hops in his car, drives off. I mean, we need to put more police on the road to win traffic stops to make sure that these vehicles that are on the road are licensed, insured, and these people have license, man. We need to be doing this on a daily basis.
Okay, I hear you. Thank you, buddy. Thank you very much. I don't know if we can win. I think the texture about the number of people on the island, well, I said that part, but the lack of development of the family islands. I mean, the intersections with traffic lights, traffic's backed up for what seems like miles as well. I don't know if anything can work. And the lights don't ever seem to give you enough time to get through the intersection. They go by very quickly. And when the few that do allow you to be there for a long time, you've got people who are creeping their way out, making left turns, even though thousands of cars coming at them. I don't know if there's any way around this at all. We are in a serious, but I know what you're talking about. I know there are certain hours of the day where it just seems like you will never move if you're coming out of the wrong direction of a roundabout, as the cars will just not stop coming at you. But is there a better solution? That's what we're talking about this morning. What do you do? What do you do? Continue to call in. All right, so let's get this in really quickly. John Canoe, the Minister of Youth, Sports and Culture, hinting that it's looking good for John Canoe and that lessons have been learned. Let's get to that and then we'll get back to your caller, so hold on for that. But take a listen to this report from our Cale Campbell.
Minister of Youth, Sports and Culture, Mario Boleg, says he expects Junkanoo to be held this year and is waiting on the proposed action plan from the Junkanoo Corporation of New Providence and the Bahamas National Junkanoo Committee. But with the downward trend in COVID cases, he believes there's no reason why there can't be an in-person gathering for Junkanoo.
Well, there will be. It could be virtual or even still in person. I still say and strongly believe there will be Junkanoo. So which will be? We will determine that. All stakeholders will determine that. So I can't say right now whether it will be virtual, whether it will be in person or some other form, but I know there will be Junkanoo.
At the beginning of the year, many Bahamians voiced their criticisms on the low quality of video production for the virtual online event Spirit of Junkanoo, which was also condemned by the Junkanooer Committee. Boleg says Bahamians will see an improvement of the audiovisual production of the event, adding that it will be professionally done by a tried and tested Bahamian company.
We're going to go back to who knows how to do it best. I guess we'll leave it just like that. And we know even them themselves learns every time they go and do it, they're learning something new. So we know who can do it great, and it will be done properly this time.
When asked whether there will be a Junkanoo contribution to the cultural presentation for when the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge visit in March, Boleg says that is being handled by the Director of Culture.
Our Director of Culture is involved in the planning. Of course, this is under the Secretariat. Her Excellency Bryce, who's leading the way, and we are just supporting them in whichever way we can. And so I am allowing my director to assist them as relates for preparation for cultural involvement, that is.
Reporting for the Guardian News Network, I'm Cale Campbell.
Okay. Oh, man. So many angles of that story. Oh, boy. Okay. So what it'll either be virtual or it'll be in person. Well, yeah, we kind of figured that. But I don't know why we're still, most people, will correct me if I'm wrong, will say if it's a virtual thing, then it's not Junkanoo, right? But I'm not sure why we're still talking like that. Mardi Gras happening in New Orleans today. Things are getting back to normal all over. I don't understand why in February or March now we are still talking about possibly virtual for Junkanoo in December. This is very odd. This is 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. And the fact that they're talking about the company, a company to record the thing. What? I mean, so are you thinking about doing this live at all? I don't understand. And then don't get me started on what we should do for the Duke and Duchess. I would give them a clip of the news of every single tragedy that's happened over the past few decades to see how the country, the mindset of the people are so warped as a result of the years of colonization. But that's just me. I'm not well. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Welcome to Morning Blend Business.
Yeah. Hello.
Hi, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Swan.
Hi.
Yeah, the thing is, I agree with you with the traffic situation. I don't want to comment on the Junkanoo because I'm vexed with the Minister of Health, and I'm vexed with the Sports Minister about this vaccine. And along once we don't talk about the pandemic. But yes, when I want to talk about the traffic scenario, right? You're totally correct. So these people calling for roundabouts, etc., T-junctions, listen to me, Mr. Swan. It doesn't even matter. What needs to be done is we need to get into the psyche of the Bahamian drivers. I'm a cyclist. In China, I would be getting paid just for green credits, just for riding a bicycle, right? Now, I'm telling you, every time I ride a bicycle, it's danger. People, they patrol their cars into the northbound lanes. They don't adhere to none of the guidelines on the traffic. The people, simple as making a complete traffic stop. I hear Aaron always mention it. The drivers need to be retrained. And what happened is, since the world at home and abroad is moving towards a panoptic state, right? What they need to do is put cameras to every red light and find people who run the red light and breach the traffic laws, and then they will change their behavior once they pay money-wise. There's a lot of money to be used from surveillance. The government can make a lot of money from finding people. Blue Road is practically a dual-carriage raceway in the morning and late in the night. They're not going to change, so you have to get into their pockets for them to feel the paradigm. When they have street lights are not working, people wearing dark tints. Guy pulled out on me on a truck. Didn't see me because he wearing dark tints and the road is poorly lit. So you see what I'm saying? It's a compilation of problems, Dwight. And I agree with you. There's no way out. You need to retrain the psyche of the Bahamian driver. The cell phones, etc. They don't. Man, Dwight, it's sickening, man. They almost kill me all the time. I got to be careful. You see, this is what it is, Dwight.
Yeah, so you ride. How often you ride your bike?
On outdoor transition and spreading pseudoscience and trying to kidnap the world and turn the world into a one robotic prison state. Have a good day, man.
Okay. Oh, wow. Wow. I'm telling you, seeing that they say they want to do a bike lane on Glaston Road, that is scary. That's scary. I mean, how far is it from Main Road? Because I wouldn't want to ride alongside it, seeing as how people drive right now. on Gladstone Road. That would be like roller coaster type terrifying. But okay. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Good morning. I hear something. Hey, are you there?
Good morning, Dwight.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning. Dwight, I'm listening to your show, right? And I heard the comments of the Honorable Minister responsible for youth, sports, and culture.
Mm-hmm.
His comments make absolutely no sense to me.
Quite puzzling.
Talking about the fact that they will now hire a professional company who they know how to do the job. Well, why didn't you do that in the first place? You spent hundreds of thousands of dollars of our money hiring a company that you're now telling us was unprofessional and didn't know what they were doing. And then secondly, as you said, virtual Junkanoo makes no sense. Makes absolutely no sense. We need to come out with creative ways by which we can express our Junkanoo and our culture. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a parade on Bay Street. There are a number of other ways by which we can demonstrate Junkanoo. Junkanoo has been denigrated just to a performance on Bay Street. Junkanoo should be an experience all year round in this country. We are playing and doing foolishness with Bahamian people money.
Yeah.
We had discussions with the hierarchy of the Junkanoo committee before they did that virtual, and we explained to them the difficulty of recording percussionary instruments like cowbells and drums, etc., but nobody listens. They go and spend our money foolishly, and now the minister is telling us somebody who now knows how to do it. That's totally unacceptable.
Yeah, absolutely. Any views on what he said about, or what he didn't say about what we're doing for the Duke and Duchess? What do you think about that? Is he gone? Gone, Freddie? Okay. Oh, yep. No? Okay. Hey, we are running out of time here, but a lot to think about this morning, and hope you think about it carefully, everybody. And say what you have to say. Speak out about these things, what your concerns are. If you think roundabouts won't work, I don't know what response they got yesterday at the town hall, the virtual town meeting about Gladstone Road, but I hope people said what they needed to say. I'm not sure about 5 roundabouts there. Some of those sound like they could be intersections, traffic light signal intersections. But we do need to think and speak our minds about these things. And speak out about Junkanoo, what you think. I think the time has passed for virtual Junkanoo. That's not even, come on now, right? But hey, a couple messages as we go to wrap up. Someone says here, slow traffic will always be with us in the mornings. Nassau is a small island with a bunch of small cars. Just leave earlier. Well, people are going to be leaving at 4 soon at this rate. And another one, I highly disagree with the minister in holding Junkanoo this year. Groups have to practice over a period of time, and these practices attract large crowds. Really? Okay. Another one here, Dwight. About Carnival, we need not think about delaying or seeing, but deal strong and firm with Carnival ships polluting the us, I guess you're saying. Meanwhile, traffic is simple, but they just don't want to bite the bullet. Deal with all matters actively. And Junkanoo should change from just a parade to be a festival. Okay. And another one here. If the ministry was transparent initially, this Junkanoo fiasco would not have happened. It would have put pressure on the person or company who was awarded the contract to execute it with excellence. Blessed morning. We really have a problem. Most of our immigrants never owned a car or vehicle before. Now, what? What? Really? And you think that's what's causing the problem on the streets? Okay. Boy, oh boy. Well, that's the problem right there. That's the problem right there. This positive note to end on. Good morning. I just downloaded the Guardian Radio app. It's so efficient. You guys are the best. Oh, thank you very much. Appreciate it. And if you haven't done that, you need to, folks. Download the Guardian Radio app. You can listen and even text us directly from the app. You can watch if we're in studio. Many things you can do there. But that is it for us this morning. Morning Blend and Morning Blend Business. Dwight Strong with you. Have a great day, everybody. Stay tuned for On the Clock with Aaron Green coming up next.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.